No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel. I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Number 10 heads north.
Yes, the new Prime Minister Andy Burnham will hold his first meeting at his new northern base in Manchester today as part of his aim to shift power out of Westminster.
But there are reports he's ready to scale up North Sea oil and gas drilling within weeks, as the latest number 10 occupant attempts to put distance between himself and the ghosts of Labour's past.
Well, he's the self-styled king of the north and he has a new castle up in Manchester. But will it help him to deliver growth in every postcode, or is it a big old waste of money?
Well, elsewhere today, Andy Burnham tries to quash his first crisis as Prime Minister by pausing the early prison release scheme. Could the long-term solution to overcrowding lie in building temporary jails?
A record 165 migrants crossed the Channel on one boat, the largest number ever crammed onto a single migrant vessel.
Trump's tariffs returns. The US president unleashes another round of import tariffs on key trading partners, including a 10% levy on British goods.
Meanwhile, President Trump is going to deliver a speech at tonight's rescheduled Correspondents' Dinner, nearly 3 months after an armed suspect stormed the event in an alleged assassination attempt.
A very good morning. Anthony Joshua says he's ready to conquer Earth on the eve of the tune-up bout that's expected to lead him towards a UK super fight with Tyson Fury in November. And King Charles and Queen Camilla take centre stage at the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony in Glasgow.
It's another sunny, very warm or hot day across southern parts today, a bit cloudier and damper further north, with rain turning more persistent later. I'll have more about all of this coming up.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast. Well, we're all heading on our summer holidays soon.
Hopefully.
We hope. Well, I haven't actually got anything booked. But anyway, if you are heading for a staycation, what is the number one thing that you are looking for? To be near the seaside is what I would say.
Decent campsite.
Oh, OK.
Staycation.
Yes.
Yes.
Somebody asked me the other day where to go. I recommended the Peaks.
Right, why?
He wanted T-bone china in shops.
Yep.
He wanted access to good walks. He wanted scenery. He lives in Malta at the moment, so he wants something a bit different. So I've recommended there. I've gone out on a limb. Let's hope he enjoys it.
I think that was a good one. Well, forget all of that, because holidaymakers have said the number one thing for a staycation that you need is a decent pub.
That's a fair point.
Yes, it is.
Yep. This is a poll of 2,000 adults. This is in the Daily Mail today. 61% consider the number one thing, the essential item, being a decent pub on the doorstep.
Yeah.
Needs to have good pub grub, yes.
Yeah.
Cosy interior, yes. And a beer garden, yes.
Yeah.
Local ales, also a very good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And live music. I do like live music.
Yes,
Yeah.
In a
I
pub.
agree.
All sounds good.
Adds a certain something. So there you go, that's what people are looking for. I think we can all agree on that one.
Excellent.
It's not a British staycation without a decent pub, is it?
No.
No. Good. Well, that's all good news for pubs.
Very good.
And they'll be hopefully still celebrating slightly after the announcement from the PM yesterday that they're going to get a reduction in business rates.
It's some breathing
which is
room,
good.
isn't it?
It's not a huge amount, but it's a bit of breathing room. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister, actually, is going to host his first meeting at Number 10 North today, that's in Manchester, as part of his plan to shift power away from Westminster.
Well, up to 300 civil servants will work regularly from the site, alongside ministers including Lucy Powell and Louise Haigh, who is overseeing the operation.
Elsewhere, the PM has paused the early prisoner release scheme, which was due to start in September, pending an urgent review.
Well, under the plans, up to 6,000 inmates across England and Wales, including killers, rapists and sex offenders, would have been released early and then monitored with electric tags.
Let's talk to our national reporter, Will Godley, who's here. Morning, Will. So Number 10 North is finally underway. What's it going to achieve?
Well, I think that's the question everybody's asking. There's no big black door, there's no Larry the Cat. It's just an unassuming building up in Manchester, about 10 minutes walk away from Andy Burnham's old office when he was Mayor of Greater Manchester. So if anybody's not going to be feeling homesick there, it will be him. Now, he says this is part of his drive to achieve growth in every postcode and get the decision-making outside of the Westminster bubble. In a statement today, launching Number 10 North, he said that Whitehall resistance to devolution is over for good. I mean, he's only going to be working there one day a week, but other ministers are set to be working there on a more full-time basis. The likes of Louise Haigh, Angela Rayner and Lucy Powell as well, all saying they're going to be working there, championing this new site. But critics, as you say, firstly criticising Andy Burnham for only going to Manchester, people saying there's more to the north than just Manchester and more to outside of London, outside of Westminster than just Manchester. That was something he was asked about yesterday when he visited Essex. He was asked by reporters whether or not that they were forgetting the likes of the east of England and southwest England as well. He was saying that, in fact, he wasn't. They'll be able to achieve the similar goals that all communities face outside of London and champion their goals. But on the side of the cost, this is going to cost a huge amount of money to set up a Number 10 North outside London in a small amount of time, and also to get the civil servants up there, because they're saying goodbye to their London waiting salaries. That's between £3,000 and £5,000 for them. So they are, we understand, being compensated for that. And so a huge amount of money being sent up there. Now, Burnham's official spokesperson says it won't cost taxpayers any more money than it already costs to have Number 10. But will it achieve the aims that Andy Burnham wants? Well, he says Number 10 North will change by putting more power into every postcode across the entire country. And he says it will be a situation room for making Britain better, the place we use to get power out of Westminster into the hands of people at a local level so they can turn things around. So perhaps it means working more with mayors, city councils, passing on and delegating responsibility that perhaps would have been something Westminster once dealt with, now going into the hands of people at a more local level.
Well, elsewhere, Andy Burnham seems to have averted his first crisis, hasn't he? He's hit pause on the controversial early prison release scheme. But there's trouble brewing, isn't there? Because there's officials saying, well, if an alternative isn't found by November, we're going to run out of space. What do you think is going to happen here? Because we've got reforms saying, let's build Nightingale prisons, just like we saw in COVID with the Nightingale hospitals. Do you think he'll consider that?
Well, there are lots of ideas being bandied around. Of course, this scheme was brought in the first place to deal with prison overcrowding and to deal with this prospect that they were going to run out of prison spaces very, very quickly. It was first brought in under Shabana Mahmood when she was Justice Secretary, and earlier this week the Conservatives were saying, why don't we deport foreign criminals to free up spaces rather than release other criminals early? So lots of ideas being bandied around on this, and of course the pressure really landed at Andy Burnham's doorstep because of PC Harper's family, their emotional response to receiving a letter from the MOJ saying 2 of his killers would be under this scheme to be released early at the halfway point rather than a 2/3 point. And his mother was reacting to the news last night that this scheme was going to be put on pause. She said it's a good start and it's really a good basis to begin working on some sensible alternatives and looking at other options going forward. She said it doesn't just affect them, it affects other people. It's something incredibly personal to them. But as you say, Ellie, they clearly don't think this is a long-term solution, desperate for other options, but feel this early release scheme just isn't the answer.
I think a lot of people would agree with that, wouldn't they? Well, thank you very much. We're going to see you in the next hour. Thank you.
Now, Donald Trump will attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner tonight, Mark II, 3 months after the original event was cut short following an alleged assassination attempt.
Well, the US president said the decision to reschedule showed strength and fortitude.
Well, Bev Turner has this report.
April, the Washington press pack gathered for the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner. Over 2,000 people crammed into a conference room at the Hilton Hotel. But just as the doors were about to close on the guests, including most of the senior cabinet, the president and his wife, the room was rocked by the sound of gunfire. The suspect, Cole Thomas Allen, a 31-year-old teacher armed with a shotgun, handgun and knives, exchanged fire with security before being subdued and taken into custody. While Trump was uninjured and rushed off the stage, the chaotic incident forced a postponement of the gala. I was there in the building whilst the dinner descended into chaos.
I'm just making my way through the reception now of the hotel. Now, what we're hearing is that there was a shooter in the reception area, like a reception, downstairs reception. So let me explain to you. This is the reception area of the Hilton Hotel. Lots of different drinks happening here.
I need everybody who's up here to back to a perimeter. That's a wall.
Of course, President Trump does not do things by the book, and instead of retreating to his bedroom for an early night, he called the press to the briefing room and addressed us directly.
Well, thank you very much. And that was very unexpected, but incredibly acted upon by Secret Service and law enforcement. And this was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press. And in a certain way it did. We're going to reschedule. We're going to do it again. We're not going to let anybody take over our society. We're not going to cancel things out, because we can't do that. We wanted to stay tonight. I will tell you, I fought like hell to stay.
The speech he had prepared for the April dinner will no doubt be dusted off for tonight, but given the dramatic turn of events, I'd expect him to be a little less critical of the assembled journalists. The suspect currently faces multiple charges, including the attempted assassination of a president, which could carry a life sentence. Back in 2011, the White House Correspondents' Dinner played a key role in Trump's political journey, when then-President Barack Obama and comedian Seth Meyers mocked Trump in front of the crowd.
He's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac? say what you will about Mr. Trump, he certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
Donald Trump sat there silently in the audience, no doubt plotting his revenge. The now 45th and 47th president will see tonight as a victory lap in more ways than one. He's proved his detractors wrong by winning 2 elections, and he refuses to be kowtowed by an actual attempt on his life. Bev Turner in Washington, D.C. for GB News.
Well, let's talk to Deputy Editor of The Spectator, Freddie Gray. Freddie, good morning.
Good morning.
I mean, it's interesting that all the presidents who's now getting focus on the Correspondents' Dinner, we're talking about the man who, up until this point, had refused to attend one.
Yes, well, Trump's history with that dinner is pretty extraordinary. I mean, of course, as everyone knows, it was being insulted by Barack Obama at the White House dinner that probably motivated him in some way to run for the presidency. And then, of course, there was this assassination attempt three months ago. And what's extraordinary is how quickly it fell out of the public mind, just like the Butler assassination attempt. It kind of, these things happen. Is it just the nature of the news cycle, or is there something about Trump where this sort of constant whirl of Trump news means people just forget that things happened? I mean, it's easy to forget. There was another assassination attempt in May, which was, dominated the news cycle for about 3 hours and then dropped out again.
Is that partly because it's America? And as unfortunate as it is, I mean, from our perspective, I don't know what the news agenda is like in the States, but from our perspective, it's unfortunate, obviously, but he survived. But it's just another shooting in America. I mean, we seem to report on them all the time.
Well, I mean, I see that to a certain extent, but I think with Trump, I mean, a presidential assassination attempt should be significant news, particularly if they get pretty close, which they did at the first White House Correspondents' Dinner. I mean, I was in D.C. the day before, but I actually stupidly went to New York instead of going to the dinner. But I was in a Chinese restaurant in New York, and they had it up on a screen in Soho. And I was very struck that sort of people that looked and went, quite interesting, and then just went back to eating their food. And I thought, well, this is an amazingly big story. And yet people just moved on.
Elsewhere, but sticking with Trump, tariffs are back. And this is on key economic partners, including us. So what does it mean?
Well, it means we are not exempt. There was some hope that we might be exempted, unlike the EU. I think what's very interesting about this is that Trump is using forced labour as the justification for the tariffs, because...
So how does that apply to the UK?
Well, exactly. I think what it is an excuse to impose the tariffs. The Supreme Court has told Donald Trump he can't have the tariffs. The federal government is paying back, I think it's $65 billion in back tariffs, so paying back tariffs. And obviously they don't want to do that. And obviously Trump is a very important part of his legislature. And so he's reaching for a legal mechanism by which he can say, I have the authority to impose these tariffs. So he's using forced labour, unfair trade, as the reason why. And he's applying it to not just the UK, but all of Europe, Mexico, where there probably is a bit of forced labour, Australia, and about 58 other countries. So it's... it's classic Trump. He's blocked by the court, so he just finds another way around it.
Is this another way around it? Does he not have to prove... I mean, presumably countries like ours will be sort of appealing this somehow and going, we don't have forced labour.
Well, it's possible that the Supreme Court will eventually find that he doesn't have sufficient proof of that, although I do think it's a legal mechanism he can probably use. He can probably say that there is something that America has bought from Britain that has had some element of forced labour in it at some stage in the process. So we could have got it from China, could have been passed on. They will find a way to do it because there is forced labour in the world, and America imports a lot of goods. So that will be used as justification, and it might just work, as strange as it sounds.
Yeah, well, it's the signature policy, isn't it? And it's back. Freddie, we'll see you in the next hour.
See you in the next hour.
Thank you very much.
Right, at 17 minutes past 6, it's time for the Daily Reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection. Do you ever wonder if there's a plan to your life, or whether you're just the victim of circumstances and what the world throws at you? My name is the Reverend Pat Allerton, and I'm a vicar in the Church of England. And you know, one man who might have had questions like that was the Apostle Paul, St. Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament. And there's a book he writes to the church in Ephesus in modern-day Turkey, the letter to the Ephesians, where he starts by using this extraordinary phrase, because he writes, "For this reason I, Paul, the prisoner of Christ Jesus." Now, Paul at the time was in prison. He was under house arrest in Rome. So we might have expected him to write, "For this reason I, Paul, the prisoner of Rome," and then added, "Help get me out of here. My life's being frustrated. Things aren't going according to plan. God must have better plans for me than this. So much I wanted to achieve. Yet these Romans have thrown me in prison. For this reason, I, Paul, the prisoner of Rome." But he doesn't write that. He says, "I, Paul, the prisoner of Christ Jesus." Why? Because ultimately, Paul knew who was in control. He knew who was pulling the strings. He knew the one who was seated on the throne and sovereign over the whole universe. And if that was true for Paul back then, it can be just as true for you and me today. After all, is the risen and ascended Jesus still in control today, as he was in Paul's day? Is he still on the throne today, as he was for Paul? Is he still pulling the strings and sovereign over this whole universe that he created? The answer is yes, which means you and I can trust what's going on today, because ultimately we know who holds us and we know who holds our future. God bless you.
That is worth remembering, isn't it? When things do seem out of control, there is one person who's in control.
I think that's a very good point. Good point, well made.
Yeah.
Right at half past.
Wishing the time away, it's 19 minutes past 6.
It's 19 minutes past and 30 seconds, that's what's confused me. Alex Burkill has got you weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. We've made it to Friday, and this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. For many, it is going to be a dry end to what has been a very dry week. There is some rain around, however. A bit of light drizzly rain across parts of Scotland, perhaps Northern Ireland at the moment. A lot of this, though, is going to break up through the morning and into the afternoon. Meanwhile, across England and Wales, well, it's a dry picture here with lots of sunshine. And with that sunshine, we're seeing temperatures rising mid to high 20s quite widely. Some places towards the southeast could get to around 30 Celsius, so feeling pretty hot here. Further north, a fresher feel for sure with a bit more cloud, and there will be a little bit of rain around. But into the evening, we're going to see some more persistent rain arriving in the far northwest of Scotland. Not especially heavy, but a damp end to the day here for sure. Further south and east across parts of Scotland, clinging on to that dry weather for now, but that rain will push through later on, and it's a similar story across Northern Ireland. Some glimmers of sunshine for the time being. Across England and Wales, a fine end to the day here, and worth bearing in mind those temperatures are going to hold up, so it is still going to be pretty warm as we go through this evening and the start of the night. That weather system in the far northwest, which is bringing rain later on to parts of Scotland, does push its way south and eastwards overnight, bringing a bit of rain to far northern western parts of England and Wales, but the more persistent rain will be affecting northwestern Scotland. It is going to be a warm night for many of us, temperatures generally holding up in the mid-teens, some places holding up in high teens, so a bit uncomfortable for sleeping for some. A pretty unsettled picture across much of Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland through tomorrow. There will be outbreaks of rain, blustery winds, and that will then push into northern and western parts of England and Wales. Further south and southeast, it's going to stay dry. There'll be some sunshine again and still hot in the southeast. Here, temperatures could once more be in the low 30s Celsius. See you again soon. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast at 6:25. Now, a record 165 migrants have arrived in the UK on a single so-called mega dinghy. That's the largest number of people ever recorded on one boat.
Well, it comes after 3 boats reached British shores on Wednesday, including that mega dinghy. That was carrying about 100 people at the time.
Well, the latest arrivals have raised fresh questions over border security and a big question on how the new government will respond.
Let's talk to Deputy Online Editor of The Critic, Tom Jones. Tom, good morning to you. I mean, this does raise so many questions, doesn't it? I mean, especially when you're looking at boats with this sort of capability, it does raise a very real question. What is the government going to do?
Well, obviously, it's difficult to know because Andy Burnham has said so far so little about what he's planning to do in government. I think it's worth putting this into context. The previous record was set just last week. That was 128 people. And one of the great changes that we've seen in Channel crossings this year is a real material change in the size of the boats. They have got a lot larger this year. They've also started setting sail from Belgium, simply because basically the coasts in France are basically log jammed. So they are now setting out from Belgium, moving down and making the shorter crossing from Dover to Calais. But fundamentally, we've forgotten about the smash the gangs strategy because the spotlight has swung off it as we started talking about Shabana Mahmood's immigration reforms. But I think Burnham is going to have to look again at this because the strategy is clearly not working.
No. And do you expect this to continue, Tom? Is this what the human trafficking gangs are going to exploit now, these so-called mega dinghies? Obviously, for them, it's more efficient, isn't it, getting more people onto one boat?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of these boats, I think the engines are made in China, and a lot of the actual hulls, they're basically very, very, very large rib boats are made in Turkey, and apparently they just seem to be able to make them bigger and bigger. And the economic incentives around people smuggling have simply not changed under this government. And therefore, the business model has not changed.
But that was, whereas that's not shocking in one sense because they get round it. That was the whole strategy.
Yeah, well, I think the smash the gang strategy, was an attempt to make this a problem of organised crime and blame the people smugglers alone. In order to basically pass some reforms that they could get past the Labour backbenchers, rather than addressing the actual pull factors that are bringing people here, which is, frankly, an overly generous settlement for new arrivals.
OK, Tom Jones, really good to get your perspective on things this morning. Thank you very much for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
Well, the Home Office has said this government is bearing down on small boat crossings. We've removed or deported almost 60,000 people who were here illegally. And the Home Secretary's announced the most sweeping reforms to tackle illegal migration in modern times, scaling up the return of those with no right to be here.
Now, 28 minutes past 6, time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway now, and it truly is great, isn't it?
It is. It's £60,000 in cold, hard, tax-free cash, plus a real, genuine, solid gold bar. Here's how you take part.
What would you do with £60,000 cash? What would you do with a real gold bar? Well, both have to be won in our Golden Summer celebration. First, there's £60,000 in tax-free cash to bolster your bank account this year. You could spend it on treats, splash out on the family, or just save it for a rainy day. It's entirely up to you. Plus, we'll also give you a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. That's genuine gold that you could gift to a loved one or just lock up in your own personal vault. The gold and the cash really could be yours. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, if you're travelling to work or school this morning, here is your traffic and travel update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A21 is closed after the A25 in Kent. The M40 northbound is closed between junctions 12 and 14 near Gaydon. The M1 southbound is closed between junctions 14 and 11A near Luton. The M42 is closed between junctions 10 and 9 near Curdworth, with delays reported. In Scotland, the A90 is restricted in both directions at Finnavon due to planned roadworks, with delays expected. And on the trains, cross-country services are not running between Exeter, St David's and Paignton, and East Midlands railway services have a reduced schedule. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Right, don't go anywhere. We've got all the sport for you coming up, including a very interesting arrival at the Commonwealth Games for the King and Queen. We'll tell you more with Aidan in a moment.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow.
Stop.
We can allow.
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, it's sports time. Aidan's here with us. Morning.
Good morning to you both. Can we start with some boxing?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes.
Anthony Joshua laughed with reporters and cut a very relaxed figure yesterday ahead of his fight tomorrow in Saudi. He is up against the Albanian contender Christian Prenga. Now, it's interesting because in his press conferences, he's cut a very, as I say, very relaxed figure, but he's not spoken much about Tyson Fury. He said he wants to conquer Earth before he conquers the universe. And I think he's out of respect to his opponent. If he's sitting up on a stage with the guy he's fighting tomorrow, he doesn't want to be talking about the next guy he fights, even though I think that even if he loses, I think he would still fight Tyson Fury because there's still too much money in it. As for Tyson Fury, he has his fight today at 4 p.m. in front of 1,500 people in Pattaya in Thailand. No TV deal. It's not available to be seen online. You can only catch it on the radio. But nonetheless, he, for the first time in 15 years, he's come in at £3. Did you say that's a tub of Ben & Jerry's, isn't it?
Well, yeah, bigger, yeah. Bit more
Other
than that,
brands
but
are
They are available.
Aidan.
They are available. Yes, sorry, so I don't want to list them either. But no, £3 lighter than his opponent for the first time in 15 years. But let's catch up with Anthony Joshua now ahead of his side of the bargain.
The goal is to conquer the universe, right? But first we must conquer Earth. And this is my target here. It's not only him. I also have to look at his team. We're focusing on the team. My coach against his coach. My physio against his physio. My strategist against his strategist. This fighter against that fighter. And may the best man win.
May the best man win, indeed. Sorry?
He is confident.
Yeah, he is indeed. But I think that, you know, they have to win these two fights. But even if they don't, I would say that this fight will still go ahead. But I don't think they're going to have any problems, as I mentioned yesterday. And we're joined by Frank Warren later on in the programme to discuss this more.
Lovely. Can we have a look at the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah.
Because it was an interesting opening ceremony last night.
It was excellent. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It was King Charles and Queen Camilla arriving in a TARDIS. That was befitting of the fact that lots of the police boxes in Glasgow are blue. But I thought it was quite a grand ceremony, given that Andy Burnham was there. There were 74 competing nations, the model of the Loch Ness Monster. Callum Beattie sang "Yes Sir, I Can Boogie." 10,000 people there in the indoor arena. I thought it was quite a grand ceremony, considering that this event is not fancied to be. It's not considered a priority for many of the athletes now anymore. I mean, it's a massively scaled back event. I don't want to sound too much of a downer on it, but it doesn't look good when 9 GB athletes yesterday, including Katarina Johnson-Thompson and Dina Asher-Smith, all pulled out because of injury. And I mean, all right, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that they shouldn't have pulled out. It does seem a lot of people to pull out on one single day. I know they will be saying, well, look, we left it as late as possible to make a decision because we wanted to be fit, but nonetheless, the action is underway this evening.
Oh, well, I hope it works out well.
Yeah, so do I.
I do.
Now, Aidan, you sound like Andy Burnham. You are not happy that there's not an Ashes test in the north.
No, look, it was first mooted in 2023. Andy Burnham, who was then Mayor of Manchester, criticised it. It was confirmed yesterday by the ECB that there will be no Ashes test next year in either Headingley or Old Trafford. They have become absolute certainties on the agenda or on the schedule, and I just think it's poor. I think that Southampton, the Rose Bowl has been given the nod. Apparently there are commercial reasons to do with ticket sales and attendance, that kind of thing, but I just think that not only should a major sporting event like this be seen across the whole country, but why do we have to have, when there's 5 events, why do 2 of them have to be in London? Why can't 1 be in London? Why do people in Manchester, why do people in Leeds not get the chance to see first-class cricket? And I just think it's wrong. I think there's sometimes more than money at stake here. I always remember when Wembley was closed in football, Gary Neville said we love, for 7 years, going around the country, going to Anfield, going to Old Trafford, going to St James's Park in Newcastle, seeing different fans and seeing a different kind of support, patriotic fervour, getting behind the team. It made a difference in big games. England did not lose many games in the regions when they played there between 2000 and 2007, and I think the ECB needs to look at this before they allocate venues in future, and I hope they do.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I do, really good point. All right, Aidan, thank you.
Thanks, Aidan.
See you a little bit later on. Right, we have lots more coming up for you in just a moment, because we'll take you through the papers with Claire Pearsall and Nigel Nelson. Good morning, both.
But first, here's your forecast across Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The heat we've had this week across some parts of Europe, that is now starting to ease and clear away towards the south. Nonetheless, there's some high humidity around, still some high temperatures. And with that, there's the risk of some heavy thundery showers affecting parts of northern Spain, southern France through tomorrow. Mostly dry for Italy for a day or so, similar across parts of Greece, with today's showers clearing away towards the east, more affecting Turkey. But there is the risk of some further showers for both Italy and Croatia into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
What do you think about where we're going to get our future athletes and our Olympians from when we're telling our children, oh, you can't go out and partake in sports today because it's a bit hot?
It really worries me. We have a generation that spend their life being very inactive, an awful lot of time on mobile telephones, coming up with every excuse as to not to move and not to be moving. Sport in schools is where we can catch every kid. And the kids that will lose out are the kids that come from areas of deprivation, because the parents that can afford to make sure their children do sport will still do that. But the parents that can't afford, sadly, will miss out. So it's really important that our kids, do enough physical activity, lay down these habits, understand about how their body works and nutrition and food and looking after themselves and health. We have a health crisis. It's really important we start early.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News entertainment editor Alex Davies joins us now. What a woman, what a voice, what an incredible life. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, like you said, she's a singer whose songs have transcended generations, really. Everybody knows Total Eclipse of the Heart. Everybody knows Holding Out for a Hero. She's been awarded an MBE. She represented the UK at Eurovision. And it's just very sad. Tributes have already started to pour in from across the showbiz world and just fans in general, This is somebody who's, like I said, transcended generations with her music and will continue to do so posthumously.
Well, thanks so much. I met her just once in a green room. She was an absolute delight, and even speaking, she had that great rasping voice.
Oh, what an incredible voice.
Incredible voice.
GB News, the People's Channel. Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
So you go along to the car showroom and only like 10%, at most maybe 15%, pay cash. The rest buy on some form of financing. And you often buy, it's a bit like a mortgage, and it's like buying a mortgage from the estate agent, which we all know is a terribly bad idea. Yeah. But this is what people did. And the scandal is, the guys in the showroom were acting as dealers and brokers, and they were in many cases inflating the interest rate that you paid so that they could get bigger commission. And they didn't declare that. So you basically ended up paying more for your car than you would otherwise have done if you'd gone into the open market and found yourself a better deal.
How did that come to light?
Well, over many years. I mean, this has been going on since 2007.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Right, time for the papers this morning with Claire Pearsall and Nigel Nelson. Good morning.
Morning.
6:43, Claire. Let's start with The Guardian, should we? Looking at sort of number 10 North and regional mayors and all this. I got to be honest, I don't understand what's happening.
They're moving to a little sort of office block in Manchester. There is going to be the sort of subsection of number 10 North, which is going to house apparently sort of transport, housing and regional mayors, and everybody is going to collaborate and growth is going to be great. It's so performative, I can't even start to think why this is going to work. It isn't. Let's put that out there. But he's sending people like Lou Haig, Lucy Powell, Angela Rayner, and you do wonder if this is the equivalent of the naughty step.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, the commentary online in reaction to this has been, are you sending the naughty ones away? Far away.
Hang on, they've all got Manchester seats. I mean, that's the reason you're actually doing it.
And you keep them away from Westminster, you keep them away from actual sort of...
Yeah, but if you're going to have a number 10 North... I mean, I've got some doubts about number 10 North too, but if you're going to have a number 10 North, surely it makes sense to have from your cabinet people who are local people.
Yeah, but what if you didn't have... What if there's a reshuffle and your people are not from the North?
Well,
do they still get sent to the North?
Well, I mean, the answer is I don't know in a situation like that, but surely there are enough Northern Labour MPs who would likely go into Cabinet to be able to replace them, should they be replaced. We've only just got this lot in place now.
But it's an over-representation of the North West in the Cabinet at the moment anyway. I mean, you look at how heavily weighted that is. Apparently for a Prime Minister for all of the country, he's not done a particularly good job of picking people from other parts of the country to make these decisions. He's put heavily into the North West those MPs in Cabinet. And you think, well...
Nothing wrong with that, Claire.
I'm not suggesting there's anything wrong with it, but you can't then tell me that you're going to make sensible decisions for places like the South West and the South East when you've got people so far...
And which Labour Cabinet Minister would you get from the South East out of interest?
Well,
but the people still need to be represented.
No, I agree with that.
They do. And there are MPs, there are Labour MPs in the South East. There is one in the neighbouring constituency to us, Dr Lauren Sullivan for Gravesham, who is extremely good, I hasten to add. I know she's a different party, but I actually really like her. Very capable. But people like that are not being considered. You're looking mainly at anybody that has worked with Andy Burnham either previously or heavily involved with his mayoralty. Those people have been taken in. So let's see how that goes. But I'm not suggesting for 1 second that the South East is going to get any kind of representation from number 10 North. They're going to look at the South East and say, do you know what, we're not interested.
Well, no, I mean, I'd expect that we'd be looked after by number 10 South.
I don't even think we'll be looked after by that. And where's the power going to lie as well? Because if normally you say number 10 is requesting something, so that is what is the diktat of the day. Number 10 wants it. And people are going to say, well, which number 10 are you talking about?
Where's it coming from?
Is this A or B?
I'd be very interested to know how much money is being spent on these relocation packages for 300 civil servants who currently have London waiting on their salaries of £3,000 to £5,000. It will need to be an incentive, won't it, for them to move to Manchester?
I mean, they're actually recruiting quite a lot of people, again, locally. I mean, people who work for Manchester local government, they're going into number 10 North. I mean, as an idea... I'm not against it. I mean, the only question is, can you maintain it? If you remember, Keir Starmer talked about he'd pack up work at 6 o'clock on a Friday, and that never happened. And the idea of Andy Burnham being able to spend 1 day a week at least in number 10 North, what happens if there's an emergency, a Cobra meeting, something like that? Do you ship all your military chiefs and top spooks all the way up to Manchester?
Do they join on Zoom?
Well, exactly. Do you have a Zoom Cobra? And it doesn't seem quite right somehow.
Well, I'm not dead set against it. I just don't quite understand what it's meant to achieve. I mean, this idea of getting out of the Westminster bubble sounds great, but if you are, in effect, just shipping the Westminster bubble up north...
It doesn't make any difference, no. I mean, it looks as if it is meant to be different. I mean, he's talking about a new National Economic Council, which is something which is actually described as an economic cobra, something that Gordon Brown had after the financial crash. Now, if you're doing that and you're bringing in all your regional mayors, and so it's all part of the devolution agenda to try and get power down to the people who should actually be using it. If that works, this could be a success.
But not every area has a regional mayor. Just want to point that out. Quite a lot of the south, central, south and southwest doesn't yet. So how are we going to be represented?
You seem to be sort of fighting a rearguard action on behalf of the south of England.
It's the point, isn't it, that some people won't feel represented by this government. They will feel like that there's an over-focus, if you like, on Manchester. Also worth saying that this cabinet is the most Oxbridge-educated cabinet of the modern era. Did you know?
Really?
17 of the 28 ministers appointed by Burnham either went to Oxford or Cambridge. So that's quite interesting as well.
Well, yeah, but if you look at some Tory cabinets, the really sort of elite cabinets, I don't think people going to Oxford and Cambridge is a bad thing. Don't we want the cleverest people running government?
The clever people only go to Oxford.
No, not only go to Oxford and Cambridge, but you expect that people who have been there to be fairly bright. No, I'm sure other universities are fine too, but if you look at the kind of elitism of Boris Johnson and David Cameron, both of them had 4 old Etonians within their cabinet.
Nigel, after that, I don't think you can complain about elitism. Honestly, I'm shocked at you. I'm shocked at you.
Nigel, let's stay with you, though. We'll give you another chance.
Oh, thanks very much.
You can talk about Andy Burnham ordering a halt to the controversial early release scheme.
Yeah, I mean, it seems sort of a bit inevitable he was going to do that after all the complaints about it. The question still comes down, what's going to happen when the prisons are full? If you don't shift these people, the prisons are already bursting at the seams, and we can't put anybody else in jail. So there is a big question of, yes, pause it, yes, make sure you're releasing the right people, or at least not the ones who are too wrong. But it does seem to be, you still have to solve the original problem.
Yes, fair point, Claire.
It is, and the sort of knock-on effect to the probation service and what happens to the courts. The courts are already log jams at the moment, so that's going to become even worse. If you're not shipping anybody out of prison, there aren't going to be the spaces to put people in. So the whole process just grinds to a halt. And I mean, I think we don't have enough spaces. I think we need to look at the prison estate as a whole. You look at women's prisons, for example. An awful lot of women in prison are serving time for not as serious crimes, let's put it that way. If we're going to start looking at people you can remove, how about you then reposition wings in those kind of prisons to ease the burden on the prison estate? And you can shuffle around. We need more prison space, is the ultimate.
You cannot run a justice system on the basis that you only serve a fraction of whatever sentence you're given.
No, I think that's right.
I mean, what's the point?
No, I know.
What's the point of a sentence?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I mean, but there are certain things that they are doing at the moment through the Sentencing Act, which started this year. Sentences under 12 months will now normally be suspended. That's going to ease up spaces. I mean,
well, it is, but that doesn't. I mean, but that seems so counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Well, not
because it's
that depends if you think prison works.
Well, yeah, if you think prison works, but it's the idea that we're going to ease overcrowding by not sending these people to prison when ordinarily we'd think they should be in prison, even if only for 12 months.
So where's the punishment aspect coming in? Where is the disincentive to those people committing crime?
Short sentence is a good idea. I mean, all it seems to do is encourage people to reoffend when they get out. The reoffending rate is much higher for short sentences than for long sentences. So it does seem that I mean, it doesn't actually make a huge difference, because although 6 in 10 prisoners are short-term, because of the churn, they only make up about 5% of the prison population at any one time.
But if there's no consequence to the action, if you are found guilty of a crime and the punishment is, oh, it's all right, we're not going to put you in prison, we'll suspend the sentence. Well, where's the punishment aspect? Where is the sort of let's have a period of reflection? You're just going to allow people out on licence, out on tags. I mean, none of that system works particularly well. No, there are so many ways around it. So there's no actual consequence to a crime.
But we got into this mess because, I mean, from the 90s to the 2000s, the prison population doubled. And that's because everyone demanded more people go to prison, longer sentences when they get there. As a result of that, we can't actually accommodate the prisoners we've got. So we then create our own crisis.
You do wonder also how much the government is going to involve victims in all of this, because
that's important, yeah.
And they absolutely should. And there are some pretty harrowing cases at the moment when you're looking at who is being considered for early release and the awful circumstances around it. And those victims need to have a voice.
We have about 30 seconds. What do you make of Nightingale prisons? So just like we saw the Nightingale hospitals during COVID, could we have temporary prisons put up?
I think we could, as long as we have enough people to staff them, and that's the other problem.
And they're secure. And at the moment, they're already building 5,000 prison places, and the idea
that doesn't happen overnight, does it?
No, but you build them on existing prisons, which is quicker and cheaper, so you just build an extra block.
Dormitory style is also being called for, like in Australia.
I don't know just how secure it'd be there.
Well, I think that's your problem, but also you don't have the prison staff. If you can't recruit them, who are you going to have there?
True. All right, you two. Thank you very much indeed. We'll see you a little bit later on.
Let's go check now on the weather with Alex Burkill.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. We've made it to Friday, and this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. For many, it is going to be a dry end to what has been a very dry week. There is some rain around, however. A bit of light drizzly rain across parts of Scotland, perhaps Northern Ireland at the moment. A lot of this, though, is going to break up through the morning and into the afternoon. Meanwhile, across England and Wales, well, it's a dry picture here with lots of sunshine. And with that sunshine, we're seeing temperatures rising mid to high 20s quite widely. Some places towards the southeast could get to around 30 Celsius, so feeling pretty hot here. Further north, a fresher feel for sure with a bit more cloud, and there will be a little bit of rain around. But into the evening, we're going to see some more persistent rain arriving in the far northwest of Scotland. Not especially heavy, but a damp end to the day here for sure. Further south and east across parts of Scotland, clinging on to that dry weather for now, but that rain will push through later on, and it's a similar story across Northern Ireland. Some glimmers of sunshine for the time being. Across England and Wales, a fine end to the day here, and worth bearing in mind, those temperatures are going to hold up, so it is still going to be pretty warm as we go through this evening and the start of the night. That weather system in the far northwest, which is bringing rain later on to parts of Scotland, does push its way south and eastwards overnight, bringing a bit of rain to far northern western parts of England and Wales, but the more persistent rain will be affecting northwestern Scotland. It is going to be a warm night for many of us, temperatures generally holding up in the mid-teens, some places holding up in high teens, so a bit uncomfortable for sleeping for some. A pretty unsettled picture across much of Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland through tomorrow. There will be outbreaks of rain, blustery winds, and that will then push into northern and western parts of England and Wales. Further south and southeast, it's going to stay dry. There'll be some sunshine again and still hot in the southeast. Here, temperatures could once more be in the low 30s Celsius. See you again soon. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A21 is closed after the A25. There is a collision on the M25 anti-clockwise at junction 20 in Kings Langley. The M42 between junctions 10 and 9 in Curdworth is closed. The A1 southbound is closed between junctions 63 and 61. In Scotland, the M8 eastbound and westbound is congested between junctions 16 and 18 due to essential bridge repair works. And on the trains, cross-country services have no trains between Exeter St David's and Paignton, and East Midlands Railway services are running a reduced service. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
What would you do with £60,000 cash? What would you do with a real gold bar? Well, both have to be won in our Golden Summer celebration. First, there's £60,000 in tax-free cash to bolster your bank account this year. Plus, we'll also give you a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Number 10 heads north.
Yes, the new Prime Minister Andy Burnham will hold his first meeting at his new northern base in Manchester today. It's as part of his aim to shift power out of Westminster.
Meanwhile, there are reports he's ready to scale up North Sea oil and gas drilling within weeks, as the latest Number 10 occupant attempts to put distance between himself and the ghosts of Labour's past.
Yeah, he's the self-styled King of the North, and today he's opening a new castle in Manchester. But will this help Andy Burnham deliver growth in every postcode, or is it a load of a big old waste of money?
Elsewhere today, Andy Burnham tries to quash his first crisis as Prime Minister by pausing the controversial early prison release scheme. Could the long-term solution to overcrowding lie in building temporary jails?
A record 165 migrants crossed the Channel on one boat. It's the largest number crammed onto a single migrant vessel.
Trump's tariffs return. The US president unleashes another round of import tariffs on key trading partners, including the UK, 10% for British goods.
The government says Britain is ready to defend itself against Iranian missiles after Tehran threatened to strike the RAF Fairford base in Gloucestershire.
North Yorkshire residents living near emergency housing for homeless people have told GB News of their frustration after a spike in antisocial behaviour.
Yeah, just another normal day on Valley Road. Police are here. The lodge.
Anthony Joshua says he's ready to conquer Earth on the eve of the tune-up bout that's expected to lead him towards a UK super fight with Tyson Fury in November. And King Charles and Queen Camilla take centre stage at the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony in Glasgow.
It's another sunny, very warm or hot day across southern parts today, a bit cloudier and damper further north, with rain turning more persistent later. I'll have more about all of this coming up.
Just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Lots of you not happy with Number 10 North today. Johnny's been in touch saying, "Morning, Stephen and Ellie. Why waste millions of pounds on a new Number 10 of the North when a newly elected Prime Minister at the next election is not going to carry on with the Number 10 in the North? Is it just a massive waste of money?" And Susan says Burnham is a key holder. He can't just move Parliament. Does he really think he is king? Another person saying this is an insult to King Charles III that he refers himself to King of the North.
Oh, right, I see.
It's a new way of looking at it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Henry says, why should everything centre around Manchester? It's not particularly far north, is it?
Yeah, lots of people from the far north have said that on this channel.
It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I say it's not necessarily against the idea. It's just what's quite the point of it.
And it's going to cost a fortune.
Well, is it?
Well, in those relocation packages alone, that's 300 civil servants, isn't it? As Will Godley was pointing out in the last hour, they've got London waiting of £3,000 to £5,000 on their salary. They'd need to be incentivised to move. It's going to cost a...
Well,
put it to the government.
Would they, though? Because the whole point of a London uplift is because it costs more to live in London. So they'd lose that money, but they'd be spending less when they move up north. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of it.
They'd have to be incentivised to move themselves and their families.
I mean, you can't pay them even more to go up north when it costs less to live there.
Wow.
I don't know. Will Godley's here, so let's ask him.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big questions is why have people in the Westminster bubble move up north? If you want to get ideas out of London, why not have people who don't live in London? Why not get people who are local, have been local this whole time? Andy Burnham, of course, fresh off campaigning in Makerfield, says he's been speaking to people on the doorsteps and spoken in the last few weeks about the issues that came up when he was there talking to people. Why not have people who share those same concerns in Number 10 North, advising him when he's there, rather than bringing up civil servants from London? Because presumably the same ideas will be had in London as they would have in Manchester. But this is launching today. Andy Burnham is going to be there for a meeting on the economy. Of course, he's made it his big thing this week, being a cost of living government. We're expecting Andy Burnham to spend one day a week working there. It's in this building called Heron House. It's an unassuming building. There's no big black door, no Larry the Cat there. But it's not just going to be Andy Burnham working there. Lucy Powell, Angela Rayner and Louise Hay as well, also thought to be working there as well. They're going to be championing this building as well, which is only really about 10 minutes walk from Andy Burnham's old office as the Mayor of Greater Manchester. So he'll feel very at home. But, of course, there are, as you were reading out, viewer comments and others critical of this scheme. Kemi Badenoch yesterday was saying Andy Burnham needs to be Prime Minister for more than just Manchester, and people wanting to point out that there is more to the country than just London and Manchester. Yesterday, Andy Burnham quizzed on that, being asked, are you forgetting about other parts of the country, the east of England when he was in Essex, and the southwest as well? What are you doing about those parts of the country as well? Well, he said this will have the same priorities, focusing on communities outside of London, and as he keeps saying, growth in every postcode. So that's what he will aim to achieve through going to Number 10 North. But will it be able to achieve that, and will it cost a lot of money to do so?
I'm just on the gov.uk website, and there are a number of jobs available to apply for in Manchester, in the new Manchester Number 10. It seems like they're all social creators. It's the TikTok team. It's the online media.
Do you fancy it?
Well, I don't, but I think there will be local people that do, going between £30,000 and £50,000, it looks like. But it looks as though they're all social media jobs.
Social content creator.
Well, Andy Burnham,
content managers,
he's big on his social media, isn't he?
Well,
that's
really?
something Kemi Badenoch in her speech yesterday said she was enjoying the dancing on social media but criticised his policies so far. Andy Burnham has released a statement this morning talking about Number 10 North, saying what he hopes it will achieve. He says it will change... It'll put power into every postcode across the entire country. He's kind of using language we hear out of the White House, saying this will be the situation room for making Britain better, the place we used to get power out of Westminster into the hands of people at a local level so they can turn things around. Perhaps, though, as you say, that will mean TikToks and getting the message out on there.
Well, that looks like the only jobs available right now.
The rest of them, perhaps...
social jobs. Does that mean Lisa Nandy's going? Would that come under the culture brief?
She might be going up there, but...
Well, I mean, she's Wigan-based, isn't she?
Oh, so it would make sense.
It would make sense for her.
We'll try and find out, Will.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't quite get my head around it.
You're not sold on it, you at home.
No.
I think that's fair to say.
It just seems a very odd state of affairs. Partly because, I know we talk a lot about the Westminster bubble, which is it's a fair criticism, but all those civil servants working in Westminster are from all over the country. The bubble forms because they're all hanging around with each other in Westminster. So you're going to get the bubble in, if they're all just hanging about in Manchester but just talking to each other, you're going to have the same problem. It's not as if everyone who's in the civil service is from down south, because that's not the case.
John says Burnham is obsessed with Manchester. I can't see this working out. It sounds like hot air to me.
Janet says it comes across as Andy Burnham. Oh, where's that going to show? It comes across as Andy Burnham being very self-indulgent, working from home at number 10 Coronation Street.
I did find it interesting as well, being on a Friday. Perhaps he's able to start his weekend early, go home,
good
Friday evening,
thinking,
down the pub.
He's right at home.
See his old mates.
It's near the local.
Maybe that's just me speculating. But he does have lots of things to talk about, of course. Up in number 10 North today, he's going to be chairing a meeting on the economy. So the cost of living, no doubt, is being spoken about, maybe these Trump tariffs and also the North Sea oil. In the Times, they're reporting Burnham's eager to get drilling in the North Sea, which is certainly something that he had been alluding to, but the Labour's manifesto says no new licences.
And Miatta Fahnbulleh, who's our new Net Zero Secretary, is not a fan of North Sea oil, so that could be a collision course, couldn't it?
She was up in Aberdeen yesterday. Apparently there were constructive talks, so perhaps they've managed to change her mind.
Maybe.
Well, watch this space. Will, thank you. We'll see you in the next hour.
Right, President Trump has announced new tariffs on 60 countries, including the UK.
Yes, the US will impose tariffs of 10% to 12.5% on imports, with the UK facing a 10% import tariff on goods.
Let's talk to Deputy Editor of The Spectator, Freddie Gray. Here we go again, Freddie.
Yeah. Here we go again, talking to me or tariffs?
Well, both, frankly.
Yes, well, here we go again. I mean, it is the endless story that is Donald Trump and tariffs. As I'm sure your viewers know, the Supreme Court struck down Donald Trump's tariffs in February. His administration instantly reimposed them using another legal instrument. That legal instrument is about to expire, so he's come up with another legal instrument to impose tariffs, and that is forced labour. The idea that because there is unfair trade on goods coming into the US, America should stop doing it because it's immoral. It is, of course, a we, so that Trump can keep imposing tariffs on the world. Nobody really thinks that Britain, the EU and Australia are using slave labour on a serious scale. But I think it will work because you can prove, undoubtedly, that products come through from China, through Europe, etc., etc. And, of course, China does use forced labour. So I think it's going to be an effective legal mechanism for Trump to carry on doing what he wants to do, which is impose tariffs.
Do you think we'll see challenges like we've seen before?
Well, you will undoubtedly see challenges. I wonder if this one might stick, because when the Supreme Court struck down the tariffs in February, one of the arguments the judges made was there are other mechanisms you could have used to do this. It was just the legal instrument you did, the emergency instrument you did. You don't have the authority as president to do that.
Why? I mean, with all of this, I mean, I know our special relationship is under pressure and all the rest of it, but I mean, we were so keen to negotiate our way out of tariffs last time, and now we've just been slapped again. Have we got no relationship here?
Well, it'll be very interesting to see how the Burnham administration handles it, because when Mandelson was ambassador, Lord Mandelson, the disgraced Lord Mandelson, was ambassador in Washington, Britain did do a pretty good job of trying to get Trump on side. We agreed this trade deal, but I mean, as ever with Trump, there are spectacular deals are announced and then they are sort of reversed, and it's always a kind of churn of triumph and disaster at the same time. I don't think we have done a particularly good job since then of trying to accommodate what America wants on trade. Certainly the initial signs from Team Burnham, if you like, are pretty good as far as America's concerned. They have hinted at doing what America wants Britain to do in the North Sea. And I think also on defence. America's very concerned about British defence. The Trump administration really wants Britain to spend more on defence, and it looks as though we are.
On the North Sea business, I mean, if they can get round and open or get more drilling going at Rosebank and whatever this one's called, Jackdaw, You say it's what America wants. Well, Trump's talked about it.
We'd be delighted, wouldn't he?
But what's it got to do with Trump? I mean, how does it impact America in that way?
I think that partly it's a genuine love of Britain. And if you talk to anybody in Trump circles, or Trump himself about this, he'll say, you've got to fix your immigration problem and you've got to start drilling. Those are the two things.
Yeah, but I can understand when he talks about things like defence spending, because it impacts on NATO and it impacts on how much America has to spend. So stuff like that I can understand, but with adding a little bit of oil, which it wouldn't be a huge amount in the global sense, into the system, I don't understand why.
As I say, I think it's partly it's to do with wind turbines near his golf courses, etc. You can make all those cynical points, but I think it's a genuine desire for Britain to do well. And what is the one thing that is the biggest factor hampering our lack of growth? It is our terribly high energy prices and our inability to produce our own energy. And I think a lot of Trump people are concerned about that. The ambassador here, the American ambassador in London, is particularly preoccupied with this subject.
Yeah. OK, Freddie, good to see you today. Thank you.
Great to see you.
Now, the government says Britain's armed forces stand ready after Iran apparently threatened to attack RAF Fairford.
Yes, the threat comes after Andy Burnham agreed to continue Sir Keir Starmer's policy of allowing Washington to launch strikes on Iran from British bases.
Let's talk to former chair of the Defence Select Committee, Tobias Ellwood. Good morning, Tobias. I mean, first and foremost, what do you make of the threat? Do we take it seriously?
Yes, good morning. Absolutely, we need to take this seriously. Everything that's happened over the last few days shouts escalation. We've seen further attacks by the United States on Iran mainland, Iran itself targeting other countries in the region, Kuwait, Jordan, for example. The Houthis now joining in, hitting Saudi ships in the Red Sea. The Straits of Hormuz still closed, and the price of oil back over $100 a barrel with all the economic consequences. And now Iran openly claiming Britain is fair game. And we should brace ourselves for some form of attack. It's clear Donald Trump, despite repeated claims that he holds all the cards, is not in control of events, still believing that US superior military might alone will alter Iran's behavior. Meanwhile, Iran, despite being hit hard, is looking ever more confident, still armed with thousands of drones and missiles now threatening the United Kingdom. And don't forget, after one Shahad drone hit RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus back in March, we must take this threat seriously. And I'm afraid it does shine light on the poor state of our overstretched defences and a reluctance to increase defence spending in order to keep our country safe and indeed protect our economy. So this, I'm afraid, is likely to get worse, and Britain needs to be better prepared for where this is likely to lead.
In terms of Iran's response, what do you think an attack could look like? Could we see strikes on RAF Akrotiri, as we've seen before? Could it be as far as RAF Fairford? I know that this is mentioned in this specific threat. And if it is Fairford, what's going to be done to step up security? Because we saw lax security last year, didn't we, when Palestine Action individuals got onto Bryce Norton. So clearly there is lax security measures, or there were at least last year.
Yeah, we simply don't have the air defense that we see in countries like Israel, a layered defense, or indeed Ukraine or the United States. We've simply not invested that. That's where the money is needed. Were a missile to be fired from Iran, it would bump into NATO airspace and there would be a response. But if it's fired from a shadow fleet in the English Channel, for example, sending a Shahad into Portsmouth, easily we would be attacked. And if there was a salvo, a number of missiles, it's easily possible that one of them would get through. So, but it could be more subtle than that. It could be a sabotage attack on our national infrastructure or a high-profile assassination, something to throw us in disarray, to show that Iran can actually impact us from afar.
I was going to say...
Let's not forget...
Forgive me,
I was just going to say, let's not forget that Russia is also in the English Channel right now, an ally of Iran, and we can easily see them working in concert.
I was going to say, I mean, some sort of sabotage, not to diminish it, but that's one thing. If there was a direct kinetic attack on the UK, that's a whole different ballgame. I mean, that changes the dynamic of everything then.
It does indeed, and it then remains, what is our strategic response? What is our military response? Do we have an ability to respond in this way? It's common knowledge just how depleted our naval forces are. We would struggle to push back in a serious way, given all the other commitments that we have across the world. And I take it back round, I'm afraid, to the fact that we need to invest more in our defense. Interesting, Wes Streeting, new to the job, was commenting on that trawler, the Russian frigate in live fire exercises, actually admitted that from a threat perspective, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Were he and the Prime Minister to share the exact state of threat that Britain is facing, I think the nation would demand that we spend more money, would be willing to see ring-fence spending to make sure that we keep our economy and indeed our country safe. That's the conversation Britain needs to have.
Tobias Elwood, thank you for your analysis. As always, good to see you.
Thank you.
It's a worrying situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is.
Let's hope they're listening, all those who need to. Right, it is 19 minutes past 7. It's time for the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. We've made it to Friday and this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. For many, it is going to be a dry end to what has been a very dry week. There is some rain around, however. A bit of light drizzly rain across parts of Scotland, perhaps Northern Ireland at the moment. A lot of this, though, is going to break up through the morning and into the afternoon. Meanwhile, across England and Wales, well, it's a dry picture here with lots of sunshine. And with that sunshine, we're seeing temperatures rising mid to high 20s quite widely. Some places towards the southeast could get to around 30 Celsius, so feeling pretty hot here. Further north, a fresher feel for sure with a bit more cloud, and there will be a little bit of rain around. But into the evening, we're going to see some more persistent rain arriving in the far northwest of Scotland. Not especially heavy, but a damp end to the day here for sure. Further south and east across parts of Scotland, clinging on to that dry weather for now, but that rain will push through later on, and it's a similar story across Northern Ireland. Some glimmers of sunshine for the time being. Across England and Wales, a fine end to the day here, and worth bearing in mind, those temperatures are going to hold up, so it is still going to be pretty warm as we go through this evening and the start of the night. That weather system in the far northwest, which is bringing rain later on to parts of Scotland, does push its way south and eastwards overnight, bringing a bit of rain to far northern western parts of England and Wales, but the more persistent rain will be affecting northwestern Scotland. It is going to be a warm night for many of us, temperatures generally holding up in the mid-teens, some places holding up in high teens, so a bit uncomfortable for sleeping for some. A pretty unsettled picture across much of Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland through tomorrow. There will be outbreaks of rain, blustery winds, and that will then push into northern and western parts of England and Wales. Further south and southeast, it's going to stay dry. There'll be some sunshine again and still hot in the southeast. Here, temperatures could once more be in the low 30s Celsius. See you again soon. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
21 minutes past 7. Let's take a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom on this Friday morning.
Well, the Southport killer Axel Rudakabana has been transferred from Belmarsh Prison to Broadmoor, a high-security psychiatric hospital. The Ministry of Justice says he's likely to remain there for years to come.
A mother and daughter who died at a beach in Essex have been named by family as 42-year-old Shali Rahman and Samia Rahman, who was just 15 years old. 3 others are in hospital after the incident in West Mersey, including a 7-year-old boy.
Now, let's just tell you that on this week's Choppers Political podcast, Christopher is talking to Conservative Chief Whip Simon Hart to have a look into this week's reshuffle.
You know, the brutal unfairness of politics is you can get sacked for when you're actually quite good. And, you know, it doesn't necessarily follow a normal pattern. And sometimes Prime Minister's got to have a fresh team, new people, different look. And so people who've served with distinction can get the boot, and it creates real problems. And we used to think, as previous chief whips did as well, for every friend you make in a reshuffle, you make 3 lifelong enemies.
Well, just as a reminder, you can listen and watch the full interview on Chopper's Political Podcast, available on gbnews.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Right, still to come, North Yorkshire residents living near emergency housing for some homeless people have told GB News of their frustration. We'll tell you why in a moment.
You are just another normal day on Valley Road. Police are here. The lodge.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Allow.
Stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
It's 7:26. Some people living near emergency accommodation in North Yorkshire say some people being housed there are, they claim, making their lives a misery. There's apparently a lot of overuse of alcohol and public fighting.
Well, our Yorkshire and Humber reporter Anna Riley has the story.
You are just another normal day on Valley Road. Police are here. The lodge.
An epidemic of antisocial behaviour. That's what Scarborough residents living near emergency homeless accommodation say they're facing. This footage was filmed by a local business owner who says the behaviour of some people staying in the Lodge Hotel is making his life a misery.
The cameras are going off all night with people mooching about, drinking, drugs, alcohol, fighting. Police are here every day. Ambulances here 2-3 times a day. It's just not good enough. Can't go into my back garden anymore with my grandchildren. I'm not even allowed my grandchildren anymore because of the smell of cannabis, foul language. My business is suffering. The businesses further up the street are suffering.
Linda feels unsafe on the street here. She also lives near to the 36-bedroom hotel close to the South Bay.
I had a particular bad incident where a lady came running into my house after trying to smash the glass door down at 4 o'clock in the morning, shouting, "He's got a machete! He's going to kill me! He's got a machete!" People have worked all their lives, come and retired here. People are coming on holiday here for respite, and all this is happening as well.
Up the road at Scarborough's North Bay, the Warncliffe Hotel is also being used as emergency accommodation, and residents nearby, including the town's mayor, are facing similar issues.
I'll leave work at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll come home and I've had to ring the ambulance because I've come home to people lying in the street that have overdosed or have drank too much alcohol.
Councillor Tom Seston is calling for the planning application for these emergency accommodation hotels to be opposed.
What I'd like to see is not housing large numbers of homeless people in residential and tourist areas.
HomeMore provides emergency accommodation at these hotels in Scarborough. A spokesman for the company said it's engaged with neighbours nearby and added incidents of antisocial behaviour can occur in and around emergency accommodation settings. Where they do, they are taken seriously, logged, reviewed and escalated to the appropriate agencies where necessary. Emergency service attendance should not automatically be taken as evidence of service failure or criminal activity. North Yorkshire Council's expected to make a final decision on the proposals later this summer. Anna Riley, GB News, Scarborough.
Well, let's talk to addiction recovery consultant and someone who was formerly homeless, Kevin Dooley. Good to see you this morning, Kevin. And when we talk about the homelessness problem in the UK, everyone gets around and says, yeah, we need to sort it out. We need to tackle it. It's a disgrace that it's happening. And yet, obviously, when these centres are being set up, it's not really solving the problem. Is it the fact that we're looking at accommodation rather than treatment for these people? And I mean, how do we manage something like this?
Yeah, it's a very complex issue. You've got, first of all, I'd like to say, give praise to the residents who are standing up for themselves and challenging organisations. That company you just mentioned that opened the emergency accommodation hostel right on their doorstep without any no transparency whatsoever, and they seem to be skipping accountability. But a lot of praise to the local residents, and I've encouraged people up and down the country to do the same. When it comes to this sort of accommodation, to be seen, because if you're living next to a antisocial, a residence that's that there's antisocial behaviour coming from, and you're on your own and you don't have support of your community, it'd be a very frightening place to be. But
then, Kevin, what then do you do, Kevin, with people who have been homeless for a long time and perhaps have, got some addiction problems as a result of all of living that sort of life? How do we begin to help them? Where do we place them where they can be warm and fed and treated?
Where we are, you've got a different type of client, and it's understanding who your client is when you have them in any accommodation emergency hostel. You're dealing with people with a gamut of mental health issues and addiction and alcohol problems, and it's to assess each person on their own merit. There's some people in that emergency accommodation who probably are more suitable for a residential rehabilitation centre. There's some people in those emergency hostels who are sober, who are off the drink for 6 months, 3 months, 30 days. It's not a good environment for them. So they'd be best suited in a dry house. So I think there's the appropriate client's needs and going to be looked at. And that's by the companies that open these places up. Whether they be massive places like St Mungo's, the charity, or some smaller enterprise, it's up to them to understand that they're in a community and that community has to be kept safe, and antisocial behaviour needs to be addressed. But treatment and care can also be offered to people. I mean, some of these emergency hospitals haven't got a counsellor. They haven't got any sort of therapy programme, and there's no sort of care and treatment programme or aftercare programme, moving on programme. There's nothing. They're just throwing people with... They're just throwing people with unmet social and health needs together and accept them to bond when we're dealing with people with personality, antisocial behaviour issues, you know. Like that. So I think a lot of it goes on. A lot of it stands at the door of the people who are just trying to make money in these emergency hospitals, and in conjunction with the councils. So the people that you're talking about appropriate services. I think that company quoted. They said something about emergency services. You can't judge a place by the emergency service turning up, and all the appropriate services are involved. Well, the matter of fact is that's okay. That's okay that private sector, public sector, and community come together. That looks good around a varnished oak table in Parliament, yeah. But like in the coalface, it doesn't happen because the reality is the services, the community police, the police, and the council, they kick the ball into the long grass, and they don't take any responsibility for addressing any antisocial behaviour from these places. And this is my experience over the years.
Well, Kevin Dooley, thank you for sharing that with us. I'm afraid we're out of time with you, but thank you so much for joining us this morning on GB News Breakfast. It's a shame that we ran out of time there, because I was going to ask Kevin what he makes of Andy Burnham. One of the first things he said when he got to the steps of number 10 was that he'd like to eradicate homelessness. He'd like to stop rough sleeping. But that shows exactly the challenges that he's going to run into.
It's not easy. These people actually need more than just a house. They need help.
They need help, yeah, and they need proper services.
Well, North Yorkshire Council's Executive Member for Corporate Services has said the safety and well-being of residents is our priority, and we always look to address concerns about antisocial behaviour. We tackle that through a combination of prevention, early intervention and enforcement, working closely with North Yorkshire Police and partner agencies.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we're going to be talking to the government about number 10 North. How much is this all costing? And is the taxpayer footing the bill? We're talking to Joint Parliamentary Secretary to the Cabinet Office, Sally Jameson. That's next.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A21 is closed after the A25 in Kent. The M1 southbound is closed between junctions 14 and 11A near Luton. The M42 is closed between junctions 10 and 9 near Curdworth. In Scotland, the A83 is restricted in both directions at Locknell Street in Loch Gilphead due to emergency roadworks, with possible delays until early evening. And on the trains, cross-country services are not running between Exeter, St David's and Paignton, and East Midlands Railway services are running a reduced timetable. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast at 7:38. We're talking to the government now. The Joint Parliamentary Secretary for the Cabinet Office, Sally Jameson, joins us now. Good to see you this morning, Miss Jameson. Can we start by talking about Number 10 North? What is it going to achieve?
Well, I think Number 10 North is a really exciting opportunity because what it is there to do is devolve power from Whitehall and from London and get it out there, not just to the north actually, but to regions and nations across the country and make sure that power and money is delivered to communities everywhere, whether that's where I am in my constituency today in Doncaster or in Durham or in Brighton. It's about making sure that individual postcodes, regional mayors and local authorities have the power to deliver the best services and get the best value for money for their people.
What I don't understand, though, is, I mean, this idea of moving everything away from the Westminster bubble, but you're just shifting the Westminster bubble up to Manchester.
Well, it's not about moving everything out of London. It's about moving certain elements of government outside of London so it best serves people across the country. And it's about sending that signal out there that actually, you know, the civil service jobs, ministers, everyone is accessible outside of London. And so I think it's a really important milestone. Andy Burnham himself has shown in Manchester that actually when you give power and when you give the money and devolve it to local areas and to mayors and to local authorities, you can actually deliver something incredible, far more incredible actually than if all that power is centralised in London.
But on that basis, what does Number 10 North, what is the benefit of Number 10 North in Manchester to someone living in Scarborough?
Well, I think it's about sending that message out there, actually, that not all the decisions are made in London. And people who are in Manchester or working in Manchester or in the towns around it have a very different life experience and understanding to those people that live in London. So it's about making sure, actually, that people can see there's areas outside of the capital where money and power is devolved to and which they can benefit from.
And how much is all of this going to cost, Sally? Because we're looking at relocation packages, aren't we, for, what, 300 civil servants?
Well, I mean, we already have, I think, around 80,000 civil servants that work across the country. And all the set-up costs for Number 10 North will come out of existing Cabinet Office budgets. So it won't be an additional burden on the taxpayer, but it's about reallocating those resources so that the power and the money is actually outside of London.
But it's interesting, Ellie earlier on was looking at positions available in the civil service for Number 10 North. I mean, the vast majority of them seem to be social media producers and things of that ilk. I mean, how is... you'd understand there needs to be some element of that in 2026. But, you know, it was adding up to hundreds of thousands of pounds available for jobs in this sort of thing. Shouldn't we be spending money a bit more wisely on stuff that's a bit more practical and really helping people out?
Well, look, I think that there'll be all kinds of jobs in Number 10 North. And look, this is just basically day one. And actually, there'll be recruitment of civil servants or relocation of civil servants to make sure that this works and to make sure that all different departments are represented in Number 10 North.
What people might not know about you is you used to be a prison officer. Didn't you? So can we please talk about this controversial prisons early release scheme, which Andy Burnham has now hit pause on, thanks in large part to the intervention of PC Harper's widow yesterday. But we've got this warning out this morning, which you might be able to relate to based on your previous experience. Officials warning that prisons in England and Wales are going to run out of space by November unless another measure is found. What's going to happen here? What is going to be put in place instead of the early release scheme that will stop prisons being overcrowded and essentially the whole justice system collapsing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Prime Minister has asked for an urgent review to take place of the scheme, and that's going to happen in the coming days and weeks. And I wouldn't want to preempt what the outcome of that is going to be, but it's absolutely right that actually the feelings of victims and actually of the general public is taken into account with any decisions made around this. But it's also important that we do understand the grave danger of having overcrowded prisons. These aren't easy decisions or easy choices, but we categorically cannot go back to where we were in the summer of 2024, where we had less than 100 bed spaces left in the adult male estate. That isn't good for public safety or public confidence. It's not good for those prison officers and indeed other prison staff who are working in the estate. But fundamentally, it's terrible for the criminal justice system as well, because the public need confidence that there are prison places there for those who need them. But this is a really...
Forgive me, but I was going to say the public need confidence as well, don't they, that people who are sent to prison stay in prison. And I mean, admittedly, this is what has alarmed the Prime Minister and is putting a pause on this, but we can't get back to an idea where someone is sentenced for a crime and only serves 30% of that sentence. I mean, it does seem ridiculous.
Well, sentencing has changed a lot over the last sort of 20 years and sentence lengths have generally increased. And the problem that we faced is that capacity did not increase alongside it. So what we've done is embarked on the biggest prison building programme since the Victorian era. We're going to have 14,000 new places by 2031. We've already built 3,000 new places since we came into office. So part of it is a capacity issue and we're working at pace to deliver on that. But that alone will not solve the prison crisis. And I think it's really important to be clear on that. And that's why it is important that we, review this and make sure that the right decisions are being made and that victims feel that justice is being served, while simultaneously recognising that we need a prison system and a criminal justice system that is not continually on the point of collapse. And what I would also say is that as part of the changes, the second third of that sentence will be served on tag. We've invested £800 million in probation accommodation so that there is intensive supervision for people that come out on release, far more than what they had previously, to make sure that the public can have confidence that people are getting kept a close eye on. And if they break their licence conditions in any way, they will be recalled to prison.
Just briefly on that, because just to clarify, so what is happening with probation? I mean, I know from work I do outside of here, probation is absolutely stretched to the maximum. I mean, people on probation are not seeing their probation officer on a monthly basis, never mind a weekly basis at the moment.
Yeah, probation has absolutely been stretched to maximum. I could see that when I was working in the prison system as well. So we have invested a huge amount of money into probation accommodation. We've also invested more money on probation officer recruitment. Now, none of these things are quick overnight fixes, but it's fundamentally important that we do these things to lay the groundwork for a stronger criminal justice system, not just today and tomorrow, not just sticking plaster fixes, but making sure we've got the foundations fixed for the future so that the public and those working inside the criminal justice system can have confidence that it is working properly, that the spaces are there and available for those that need them, and actually prisons can function in a way that is both punishment for those that have committed crime, because that's really important, but secondly also that there can be rehabilitation so that we reduce crime and reduce reoffending going forward.
OK, Sally Jameson, I'm afraid we're out of time with you this morning, but thank you very much for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you.
Sharon's been in touch, giving alternatives to prisons, saying, one, there should be a year or a year at least of strict community service, licence tag or national service, and third point, proper therapy in order to fight those demons.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. Right, we've got the papers with Claire and Nigel coming up for you in just a moment. There they are.
Morning, you two. Chat to you in just a second, but first, here's your forecast across Europe.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The heat we've had this week across some parts of Europe, that is now starting to ease and clear away towards the south. Nonetheless, there's some high humidity around, still some high temperatures. And with that, there's the risk of some heavy thundery showers affecting parts of northern Spain, southern France through tomorrow. Mostly dry for Italy for a day or so, similar across parts of Greece, with today's showers clearing away towards the east, more affecting Turkey. But there is the risk of some further showers for both Italy and Croatia into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Should James Bond stay white and male?
Yes, I think that's probably the best course of action. If you think about it, Amazon have taken over Bond about a year ago, and they're a big company, aren't they? And this is a risk, isn't it? They don't want to be seen to cast their first James Bond in anything other than the most popular Bond to everybody. So if you're a casting director, like Debbie McWilliams has said, the previous one, I suppose it'd be who would be the most popular? What's the safest thing to do? So I think, in other iterations, there's nothing to say it couldn't be anything other than white, but this is the first one back. So I think it will be the safe thing to do. And it has to be a man. That's non-negotiable. I think audiences would instantly be complaining, and they want as little controversy going into this new film as they can.
The People's Channel. Martin Daubney. Weekdays from 3 p.m.
With the football, a row has erupted. A racism row again, this time at a Kent secondary school after pupils' children were allegedly told to scrub painted England flags from their arms because, you've guessed it, they were deemed as racist. Is this the woke flag monitors simply spoiling everybody's fun?
Now, look, if we are going to police flags, that's clearly a problem. I think there are lots of people who feel negatively towards the England flag because of what it's represented in the past, and that's a real shame. But it's nice to see that new generations, I'm the son of immigrants, and I don't feel that. I haven't inherited that, and that's really positive. Look, so we should be able to, especially during a football match, fly that flag with pride and enjoy it.
I know that part of the world a little bit. I travelled to Broadstairs, Thanet, Sandwich. You see the Union flag, and particularly the England flag, everywhere. Yes. Even under normal circumstances, you see the England flag being proudly flown. So this is completely insane.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
There was a Ryanair flight from Thessaloniki in Greece, and a part of the plane hit the window and pulled it out. And so this man, a 61-year-old Serbian man, was sucked out of the window. And his wife, she says that she was desperately holding onto his legs to keep him inside the plane for 5 minutes. Wow. It was horrendous. Apparently the aircraft did eventually land normally and passengers were safe and a replacement airline was sent. He was taken to hospital with friction burns. It was a part of the propeller had come loose from the engine and it had hit the window, and that's what had taken the window out. So it wasn't as though it was thought to be loose in the first place. But can you imagine?
No.
I mean,
I don't want to.
Unbelievable.
I'm not a good flyer, I have to admit. This terrifies me.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast at 7:51. We're going to have a quick whiz through the papers with Claire and Nigel, who are with us. Claire, let's talk about North Sea drilling. Burnham's eager, apparently, according to the Times.
I mean, this is good news for once. I mean, I'm a big fan of opening up Rosebank and Jackdaw for the UK use. And it's amazing what a difference a new Prime Minister and a new Energy Secretary can make, seeing as the previous Energy Secretary would have us all living on bugs and sticks and being very cold. And
little
now...
extreme, I would have thought.
Oh, come on. Ed Miliband was never going to allow this to happen. So I'm extremely optimistic that this will happen. This is a great boost to the UK economy.
I mean, you were arguing against it, Nigel, and now it appears to be government policy. Now what do you say?
Well, I mean, first of all, it doesn't break the manifesto because they've already got licences.
Oh, so it's all fine. But
no, it's not all fine.
Didn't break it last time.
The point really is who gets the oil at the end of it? Who's the oil gets sold to?
Does it matter?
Well, it does matter.
Why does it matter?
Because what we've got at the moment is an oil shortage. So what we want to do is get our hands on the oil.
Still has to go in the global market.
It'll have to go in the global market. Or we could take emergency powers and have it shipped on shore. That's up to Andy Burnham. But you could actually do that. But at the moment, it doesn't benefit us in any way.
Tax revenue.
Strengthens the pound.
Yeah.
Well, we're not talking about enough oil to make a huge difference. That's the point.
28 billion quid in tax revenue?
I'm not sure I believe that figure.
Oh, but you would say that, wouldn't you? I mean, come on. You've got a Prime Minister that's looking at the cost of living crisis as his great big ticket. Surely this is going to be good for the economy. Even if it's not for use in the UK, you sell it on the international markets, you get the revenue from it, the pound is much stronger. That gives you much better purchase, and therefore your growth can begin in the UK.
But I want to see these things actually benefit British people. And as far as I can see...
It would, if you have the
if we would take emergency powers and get it on shore, and if that brought prices down, great, then all those things are quite good. That goes along with Andy Burnham's cost of living.
But all this tax revenue that would fund our defence, isn't
And
it?
a stronger pound.
Yeah, but we're not to bear in mind that the whole North Sea has been pretty much drained dry. So we're talking about 9 out of 10 barrels of oil have now been taken from the North Sea.
Right, Nigel, Claire, I'm afraid we're out of time. So we actually can't come back to that, Nigel.
It's not your full flow. Fascinating, though, isn't it? See you later. Here's the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. We've made it to Friday, and this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. For many, it is going to be a dry end to what has been a very dry week. There is some rain around, however. A bit of light drizzly rain across parts of Scotland, perhaps Northern Ireland at the moment. A lot of this, though, is going to break up through the morning and into the afternoon. Meanwhile, across England and Wales, well, it's a dry picture here with lots of sunshine. And with that sunshine, we're seeing temperatures rising mid to high 20s quite widely. Some places towards the southeast could get to around 30 Celsius, so feeling pretty hot here. Further north, a fresher feel for sure with a bit more cloud, and there will be a little bit of rain around. But into the evening, we're going to see some more persistent rain arriving in the far northwest of Scotland. Not especially heavy, but a damp end to the day here for sure. Further south and east across parts of Scotland, clinging on to that dry weather for now, but that rain will push through later on, and it's a similar story across Northern Ireland. Some glimmers of sunshine for the time being. Across England and Wales, a fine end to the day here, and worth bearing in mind, those temperatures are going to hold up, so it is still going to be pretty warm as we go through this evening and the start of the night. That weather system in the far northwest, which is bringing rain later on to parts of Scotland, does push its way south and eastwards overnight, bringing a bit of rain to far northern western parts of England and Wales, but the more persistent rain will be affecting northwestern Scotland. It is going to be a warm night for many of us, temperatures generally holding up in the mid-teens, some places holding up in high teens, so a bit uncomfortable for sleeping for some. A pretty unsettled picture across much of Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland through tomorrow. There will be outbreaks of rain, blustery winds, and that will then push into northern and western parts of England and Wales. Further south and southeast, it's going to stay dry. There'll be some sunshine again and still hot in the southeast. Here, temperatures could once more be in the low 30s Celsius. See you again soon. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A21 is closed after the A25. The M1 southbound is closed between junctions 14 and 11A in Luton. The M6 northbound between junctions 25 and 26 in Wigan is closed due to an emergency incident. There is a stranded vehicle causing slow traffic on the M42 southbound at junction 4A in Solihull. In Scotland, the A90 is restricted in both directions at Finnavon due to planned roadworks with delays expected. And on the trains, cross-country services have no trains between Exeter St David's and Paignton, and East Midlands Railway services are running a reduced service. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
We're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Number 10 heads north.
The new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, will hold his first meeting at his new northern base in Manchester today as part of his aim to shift power out of Westminster.
There are also reports this morning that he is ready to scale up North Sea oil and gas drilling within weeks as he tries to distance himself between the ghosts of Labour's past.
Elsewhere today, Andy Burnham tries to quash his first crisis as Prime Minister by pausing the controversial early prison release scheme. Could the long-term solution to overcrowding lie in building temporary jails?
President Trump unleashes another round of import tariffs on key trading partners, including the UK.
North Yorkshire residents living near emergency housing for homeless people have told GB News of their frustration after a spike in antisocial behaviour.
Yeah, just another normal day on Valley Road. Police are here. The lodge.
Well, should councils put a vote to residents, a referendum basically, before agreeing to house asylum seekers in the community? After a rise of local protests in places like Crowborough, we'll debate that later this hour.
Anthony Joshua says he's ready to conquer Earth on the eve of the tune-up bout that's expected to lead him towards a UK super fight with Tyson Fury in November. We're joined by Frank Warren later this hour.
It's another sunny, very warm or hot day across southern parts today, but cloudier and damper further north, with rain turning more persistent later. I'll have more about all of this coming up.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. So many of you getting in touch with us this morning. Thank you for your company. Grumpy Grandad, morning to you. Saying those early release schemes were not supposed to be releasing dangerous criminals. Certainly those who have had committed sex crimes. So why are they now? It just puts everyone in danger. If you don't have enough prison spaces, then deport all of the foreign nationals in our jails. That will give you 10,000 extra spaces. If we'd had more time with our government round earlier, and that was Sally Jameson, would have put that to her.
Yeah, I mean, the issue, what they always argue against with that is they'll send people back. Britons who are being held abroad will be sent back, but surely there's not 10,000 of them.
You wouldn't think so, would you? Master Black Belt says number 10 should be in our capital city. Manchester is not our capital city. The only reason to have a second number 10 is because Burnham knows Manchester and he loves it. What about Newcastle or York? If you're going to devolve, then why not just choose the city furthest away from London if you want to make that point?
Yeah, it seems... I mean, Ian says no matter what's been Burnham put on number 10 North, it's only for his convenience. It's a waste of time and money. One thing I did notice from our government minister this morning is she was saying, well, you know, it lets people know that we are bothered about the rest of the country. And, well, in that case, it's just window dressing, isn't it? Rather than actually achieving anything.
This is what St George has said. Forgive me, but I fail to see the logic, the rationale or the advantage of a number 10 North. It appears to me to be little more than a gimmick.
I'm all for stuff being in the North, being a proud northerner.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a real point to it.
Got to be a point to it.
And this is where we struggle a little bit.
Also, a number of you making the point that the first meeting being held by Andy Burnham today in number 10 North is on a Friday, and it might be quite nice and convenient for him ahead of the weekend.
Well, that's...
Being back in Manchester.
Well, it saves him going up and down the same.
Exactly.
To be fair.
Will he just work from home on a Friday, essentially?
Well, maybe. Well,
or from number 10 North.
Anyway, look, it is the first number 10 North meeting today. Our national reporter, Will Godley, is in Westminster for us. I mean, you're in the wrong place, Will. We should have sent you up to Manchester this morning.
I know, I'm still not working from home though, so there is that. But yeah, this is Westminster, home of course to Whitehall, which is the heart of government, but today it's beating some 200 miles away. And just coming here this morning from the studio, it was a little bit more quiet here than a usual Friday. Of course, though, we are in parliamentary recess, so perhaps you would expect that. But yes, today, number 10 North launches, and it's launching in a building called Heron House. There's no big black door, there's no Larry the Cat. There is, though, police officers outside, we're told, keeping everything secure because the Prime Minister will be there chairing this economic meeting with business leaders and trade union bodies as well. But he is facing criticisms that this is all a gimmick, number 10 North. Some cabinet ministers are backing it and are going to be working from there. They tend to be, though, the northern MPs anyway. People like Angela Rayner, Lucy Powell and Louise Hay, we're told, will be spending some time working from there. And in the last half an hour, we had Sally Jameson, Cabinet Office Minister, on GB News telling us why number 10 North is important for the government, getting power out of London into the north. But when Andy Burnham was questioned about what about the rest of the country yesterday, you're not forgetting, the interviewer asked him, you're not forgetting places like the east of England and the southwest of England. He said number 10 North will be working for everybody and every part of the country. And he's released a statement this morning saying number 10 North will be the situation room for making Britain better, the place we use to get power out of Westminster into the hands of people at a local level so they can turn things around. And that's something echoed in that government minister round this morning, where she was saying the government keen to hand power to local mayors and councils. So perhaps that's something they'll be discussing today as they launch this number 10 North.
And elsewhere today, Will, Burnham orders a halt to the controversial early release scheme. We were just speaking to the government about this. Lots of questions remain. What about Nightingale prisons, and could it be possible that they actually end up having to reinstate it, because we could see prisons being overcrowded by November?
Well, exactly, yeah. That's those Nightingale prisons, of course, emulating those Nightingale hospitals from COVID. That's something Reform UK are pushing. They say it would create an extra 12,000 prison places. The Tories earlier this week were suggesting we deport foreign criminals to free up some 10,000 or so prison places. But that is something at the top of Andy Burnham's agenda now, having put a pause on this early release scheme. Of course, that was going to free up some 6,000 places in prisons this September when criminals were going to be released early, some criminals anyway, in September, 6,000 of them. That was he was under pressure to put a stop to that, thanks in part to the family of PC Harper when it emerged 2 of his killers were going to be released, and his mum welcoming the news it's going to be paused, but still saying it's not enough.
OK, more Godley there for us in Westminster. Thank you very much.
Right, another news this morning. The Southport killer, Axel Rudakabana, has been transferred from Belmarsh Prison to Broadmoor, which is that high-security psychiatric hospital. The Ministry of Justice says he's likely to remain there for years.
A mother and daughter who died at a beach in Essex have been named by family as 42-year-old Shali Rahman and Samia Rahman, who was just 15 years old. 3 other people are in hospital after the incident in West Mersey, including a 7-year-old boy.
President Trump has announced new tariffs on 60 countries, including the UK. They range from 10 to 12.5%, the UK facing that 10% import tariffs on goods. All right, let's see what the Conservatives make of everything that's going on in government at the moment. Shadow Exchequer to the Treasury, Gareth Davis, joins us now. Good morning. Nice to see you. I mean, how often did we hear previous Conservative governments going on about levelling up? You never really got anywhere with it. Well, now we've got a number 10 in the north. Is that a good thing?
Oh, come on. I think we did quite a lot, actually, for the north of England, across the country, but we were hampered slightly by that little thing called the global pandemic. But you're right, it was a key priority in the 2019 manifesto. We did a number of things, not least, by the way, move part of the Treasury to Darlington. So we're not, against it in principle, but right now, moving number 10 to Manchester, is that really a priority right now? We've got the Iranian situation, we've got cost of living crisis, we've got businesses that are being hammered by taxation. I want the Prime Minister to be focused on those things, not, slight gimmicks like moving number 10 to the north.
It's clearly going to cost a lot of money to set up, including sending 300 civil servants. There'll be relocation packages included there as well. Would a potential future Tory government keep number 10 North, considering all of that money would have been spent on it?
Well, look, we're going to have to look at a lot of things after the next election if we win it. We're going to look at the level of debt in our country and spending and taxation as a priority. But things like this office in Manchester will be on the list, but I'm not sure it'll be that high up. Right now, as I say, what we're focused on in the opposition is holding the government to account on the very big issues facing people across the country. That's what we're really focused on right now.
You see, the interesting thing with all of this is, and obviously you're not going to agree with everything Andy Burnham's doing, of course not, but things are happening. Now, they may be small, and there's a lot of criticism saying, well, how's it all being funded? Some of it doesn't seem to make a lot of funding sense. But we are getting some... It feels like something is happening, which we haven't felt like that for the last couple of years. So where does that leave you in terms of... You've got to really assess what's going on now, don't you, rather than just out and out criticise everything that happens?
Look, can I just say, that's a really good point. For too long, I think politicians constantly criticise and oppose. That's what Labour did to us when we were in government. What we will do is work constructively with the government, and when they do something right, we will say so. So there are reports in the press about approval of Jackdaw and Rosebank. That's very much welcome. This is something we've been calling for a long time. We've got a temporary pause on the Sentencing Act. Let's see the detail of that. But again, it's something we've been warning about for a long time on this early release of prisoners. And if he takes action on that, that's a good thing. I think it's okay to say that from time to time. But let's be clear, as I say, there's a lot of issues going on in the country and around the world, and his biggest answer so far is a £2 bus cap. You know, this is not serious. He's still acting like the mayor of Manchester. He's the prime minister of a G7 economy, a nuclear power. We've got a seat in the United Nations Security Council. We've got businesses that are being hammered by taxation. He needs to zoom out, get a bigger picture of what's going on in the country, and start acting on those very big issues.
Well, can we start with one of those big issues, which is the early release scheme, the controversial early release scheme, which Burnham has now hit pause on. But we've got officials reacting to this news this morning, warning that prisons in England and Wales are going to run out of spaces by November unless an alternative is found. What should that alternative be? Clearly, we can't build prisons overnight, but should we be looking at Nightingale prisons?
I think we should look at a range of options. We've been talking for a long time about the foreign national offenders, some 10,000 offenders that are in our jails that, you know, we'd like to see removed and to free up space. There are things that you can do in addition to that, such as temporary accommodation for our prisoners as well. And so it's for the government to really set those out. But very clearly, we should not be releasing, after just a third of their term, the most serious offenders onto our streets. These are rapists, paedophiles, violent criminals. We should not be doing that. We've said that consistently, and we're not clear on what this pause is, by the way. How's he going to stop it? It's a piece of legislation. Is he going to scrap the act? Is he going to change the act? How's he going to do it? We're on recess. It's not very clear. Nick Timothy on our side has written to his counterpart to just ask, we need more detail on how you're actually going to pause this situation.
Oh, right. Oh, that's interesting then. So we're all reporting that, this pause is happening. Are you saying, almost in sort of legal terms, in legislative terms, you can't just do it, as far as you're aware?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what a pause is. We've got September. This is happening in September. And we've got an Act of Parliament that's very clear, and we're on recess. So I don't know what the plan is. That's for the government to set that out. Again, there's no scrutiny. There's no, we've no idea.
But on that, Mr. Davies, would the Tories welcome Parliament being recalled if issues like this need to be dealt with?
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean, the government have got to set out how they can do this. We actually did ask and put down a motion to extend the parliamentary term, if you remember. We had a motion in front of the House for the Wednesday before we broke up to say, look, we haven't got scrutiny of this new Prime Minister. We have no idea what his plan for the country is. Let's bring him to the House, let's get some questions to him, and he can answer about his plan for taxation, about the economy, about prisons, about early release, just a bit of scrutiny.
Okay.
And he rejected that. They actually took it off the agenda altogether. They didn't even vote against it. They just took the whole thing off. So we just need more scrutiny of this Prime Minister who keeps dodging questions.
Gareth Davies, thank you for being so generous with your time this morning on GB News Breakfast.
Thank you.
A lot of questions still to be answered.
Yeah.
It looked like a nice day out there, didn't it? In
Lovely,
Westminster, at least.
You could hear the birds chirping. Very nice.
So we see what the weather's like where you are. Here's Alex.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. We've made it to Friday, and this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. For many, it is going to be a dry end to what has been a very dry week. There is some rain around, however. A bit of light drizzly rain across parts of Scotland, perhaps Northern Ireland at the moment. A lot of this, though, is going to break up through the morning and into the afternoon. Meanwhile, across England and Wales, well, it's a dry picture here with lots of sunshine. And with that sunshine, we're seeing temperatures rising mid to high 20s quite widely. Some places towards the southeast could get to around 30 Celsius, so feeling pretty hot here. Further north, a fresher feel for sure with a bit more cloud, and there will be a little bit of rain around. But into the evening, we're going to see some more persistent rain arriving in the far northwest of Scotland. Not especially heavy, but a damp end to the day here for sure. Further south and east across parts of Scotland, clinging on to that dry weather for now, but that rain will push through later on, and it's a similar story across Northern Ireland. Some glimmers of sunshine for the time being. Across England and Wales, a fine end to the day here, and worth bearing in mind those temperatures are going to hold up, so it is still going to be pretty warm as we go through this evening and the start of the night. That weather system in the far northwest, which is bringing rain later on to parts of Scotland, does push its way south and eastwards overnight, bringing a bit of rain to far northern western parts of England and Wales, but the more persistent rain will be affecting northwestern Scotland. It is going to be a warm night for many of us, temperatures generally holding up in the mid-teens, some places holding up in high teens, so a bit uncomfortable for sleeping for some. A pretty unsettled picture across much of Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland through tomorrow. There will be outbreaks of rain, blustery winds, and that will then push into northern and western parts of England and Wales. Further south and southeast, it's going to stay dry. There'll be some sunshine again and still hot in the southeast. Here, temperatures could once more be in the low 30s Celsius. See you again soon. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Just a quick message from Whoopsie-Daisy, who says, why do MPs have a recess? Why not just act like it's a proper job? That's a very valid point, actually.
I did think that the other day when Darren Jones put a video on social media, the former right-hand man to Keir Starmer, saying, see you all in September, and raised a pint. I don't know how his constituents would feel about that.
I mean, it's like a school holiday, isn't it?
You might be hoping he'd do some work in his constituency in that time.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do, but it's the fact that all parliamentary business grinds to a halt.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't really, should it?
They paid a lot of money, aren't they?
Keep going. Anyway, talking about all things involving constituents, should councils put a vote to residents before agreeing to house asylum seekers in the community? We'll debate that next.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News Bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
To all of you who voted for GB News to win at the Trick Awards for the 4th year in a row.
The winner is GB News.
Thank you so much for voting for us. It's because of you that we're so proud to be the People's Channel, and it's because of you that we are Britain's news channel.
It's voted for the people who watch us.
Well, we've got the best viewers in the world, haven't we? The most loyal viewers.
Thank you.
Now, housing asylum seekers is an ongoing issue. You know, hotels, HMOs, or now these sort of former military bases. We know all the problems there's been around Crowborough and how upset the local residents have been about using that. So we're asking this morning, should there be a referendum? Should local people actually be asked about all of this? Let's talk to political commentator Suzanne Evans. Is that a sensible idea, Suzanne?
Yes, I think it is. I think there should be more referenda of local people, to be honest, because I think too often locals in any council area have their ideas and feelings run roughshod over, to be honest. And look, where are we at the moment? I'm in Shropshire. We've had this issue just up the road from me in Market Drayton, where they were going to put 83 asylum seekers into 21 new homes that locals couldn't afford. Our local MP, Helen Morgan, got very angry about it because she said it was the wrong place for them because they didn't have access to local shops or bus routes. Well, actually, most of us in Shropshire don't, so that didn't go down terribly well, I'll be honest. So it's just a question of, these things change lives. If you have a small village population of just a few hundred people in some cases, and then suddenly 100 or so migrants arrive, then it completely changes the nature of an area. And of course, you've been reporting on this morning on GB News, talking about Scarborough, where locals are basically having their lives ruined by migrants hanging around, drinking, smoking, causing antisocial behaviour. And that, of course, we know is not the worst of it. In other areas of the country, there have been violent crimes, rapes, sexual assaults. And why should local people have to put up with this against their will? They're never consulted about these things, and they absolutely should be.
What is the answer then, Suzanne? Where should we put these migrants, these asylum seekers? Because obviously hotels didn't sit well with people, these 4- or 5-star hotels. New homes, the same. HMOs, a real concern for people and their local communities. And military bases, as we've seen in Crowborough, you run into a whole other set of problems when it comes to military bases. So what is the answer? There doesn't seem to be a simple one.
Well, the answer is obviously once illegal migrants arrive, they should be detained and deported very, very quickly. And of course, the problem is that that's not happening. So there's even more of an impetus for them to come. They know
detained, but detained where? Because if you have a detention centre, it's going to have a constant churn of people. So whoever living, I mean, the problem you've got with the referendum is whatever, even if it's a detention centre, people are going to say no. Yeah. Do you want a detention centre, or do you want to house refugees, or as in Scarborough, do you want to house homeless people near you? People are going to say no.
A lot of the problem, isn't it, is not about so much the where as the how. So people are detained, but they're not detained because, as we've seen again in your report this morning, they're allowed to walk the streets during the day. We had a migrant hotel here a few years ago. It's closed down now. But what would happen is literally they'd sleep there at night and then they'd open the doors in the morning, put them out into the streets, lock the doors so they couldn't go back into the hotel. So there was enormous problems. And I think what most people feel is these people don't just need to be detained. They actually need to be stopped from causing a nuisance in their local community. So I think, again, there perhaps would be more sympathy, for instance, using former military barracks, if they knew that people were detained there securely and weren't able to be let out during the day and sometimes during the night as well to cause problems. But ultimately, as I say, the answer is to detain and deport. But this is the problem. The national government's got to get a grip of this, and it's clearly not getting a grip of this. And I think until we have a system whereby more and more local councils say, no, we're not going to allow this to happen because you're not managing this situation properly, letting these people literally run riot on our streets, we are not having it. And only then maybe will national government sit up and take notice and actually do something about this incredible problem that has been going on for decades now. I mean, I can't think of another issue that's so affecting people's lives where the government's literally sitting on their hands and saying, oh, we can't do anything about it, human rights laws, etc., etc. There is so much they could do about it. There is so much they could legislate for. We could leave the ECHR. We could change the rules around asylum seeking. We could get, lawyers who make millions off the back of other people's misery. We could change the law and change how they are allowed to behave and the appeals process. So much could be done, but the government won't do, because actually it can very easily just fob off migrants onto local councils, basically use them as a dumping ground for this very, very serious issue. And I note, that the Reform Party has written to Andy Burnham this week, 24 council leaders, Reform council leaders that represent 8.5 million people, saying councils must have the final say on that. And this is the very least that anybody can expect. I would go further. I would argue, as we were talking about, for a local referenda, because then people can really make their feelings clear. At the moment, people just feel powerless. They don't know. I don't know if a house in multiple occupation isn't going to be opened a few miles down the road from me. None of us know the answer to that, and we feel completely powerless. All we can do is protest. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to get involved. Protest. They just want to be listened to and have something done about this appalling situation that's just going on for far too long now.
OK, Suzanne Evans, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And that was one of the number one issues, wasn't it, in Crowborough? GB News has been there covering it since the very beginning. And the number one thing coming back from people living there is they were not consulted about this. It just happened.
No. Look, you can understand the frustration. I totally get it. I just think the problem with the referendum is...
People just say no.
People just say no. I mean, if there was a referendum where I live saying, do you want, a centre opened up, within 10 miles, you'd go, no, thank you. Not really. I don't want it round near me. And that's what... So if everyone votes no, who's going to vote yes?
Who's going to vote yes, exactly.
And so nothing had ever happened. This is the problem. You've got to do something. And I don't know what. I don't know.
Yeah. Let us know what you think on this one.
Right. Should we cheer you up with a giveaway?
Yes, let's. 60 grand in tax-free cash and your very own real gold bar. Here are all the details that you need.
What would you do with £60,000 cash? What would you do with a real gold bar? Well, both have to be won in our Golden Summer celebration. First, there's £60,000 in tax-free cash to bolster your bank account this year. You could spend it on treats, splash out on the family, or just save it for a rainy day. It's entirely up to you. Plus, we'll also give you a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. That's genuine gold that you could gift to a loved one or just lock up in your own personal vault. The gold and the cash really could be yours. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right, if you're heading out this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A21 is closed after the A25 in Kent. The M1 southbound is closed between junctions 14 and 11A near Luton. The M6 northbound has a lane closure between junctions 23 and 24 near St Helens. The M62 westbound has a lane closure between junctions 20 and 19 near Middleton. In Scotland, the M8 eastbound and westbound is restricted between junctions 16 and 18 due to bridge repairs. And on the trains, cross-country services have no trains between Exeter, St David's and Paignton. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us still to come. Aidan has all your sport.
Yes, indeed. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury are both in action within the next 48 hours. We'll look ahead to a thrilling weekend of boxing with Frank Warren. That's after the break.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get this on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the late edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, late edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, late edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I do love a good fight, actually.
Don't start on me.
No. I don't mean that sort of
fight. You got me in a headlock once. Do you remember?
I did get you in a headlock once. I know why you were asking for it, frankly. But no, good. I mean, and we've got some good fights this weekend.
Yes, look, it's a big weekend of sport. We're seeing the Commonwealth Games kick off tonight. We've had the World Cup, football taking a back seat just for a few weeks now. I hope, anyway, just because I think other sports deserve to breathe. And we've got two of the biggest names in boxing in action in the next 48 hours. First up tonight, Tyson Fury, 4 p.m. in Thailand, and then tomorrow evening in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, we've got Tyson Fury fighting. The two of those, if they win, will, we think, square off against each other.
Even if they don't win?
I think they will. Well, we can. Why don't we speak to Frank Warren?
A man who knows.
He'll know better than me. Frank, a very good morning to you. Good to see you.
Morning, Aidan. Good to see you too, mate.
Just tell me, why is Tyson Fury's fighting in Thailand, and why is it not on telly?
It's not on telly because he's doing it for charity, and it's part of his At Home with the Furies season for next year. And it's a warm-up fight for him. I mean, no secret about it. It is what it is. It's a warm-up. He signed to fight AJ back in January, but unfortunately AJ was involved in that tragic accident, and they were both going to have a warm-up fight, which they had, which I see Tyson had. And then AJ's now having one, as you say, on Saturday. And Tyson didn't want to be out of action until November, so he just wanted to tick over. So it's a ticking over fight, basically, for both of them.
And he's weighed in 3 pounds lighter than his opponent. That's the first time that's happened in, 15 years? I mean, what can we read into that, Frank?
He's trained very hard and he's fit and he looks extremely well. You look at any of the footage of him, he looks extremely well, and he's really, he feels he's found a new lease of life. I mean, he's had about 18 months out the ring before he had that last fight, and he's chomping at the bit, and he feels he can get all his titles back.
And Frank, is there any chance at all tonight, do you think, that Tyson will fly direct from Pattaya to Jeddah to front up Anthony Joshua? That would be dramatic, wouldn't it?
It would be. I don't know, to be quite honest, because of the time constraints. That may happen, but the thing is with Tyson, he's signed for the fight. I mean, he's inked it, he's in, he's done, and it's just a matter of sorting out where the fight takes place.
And we're talking later this year, we think it's going to happen, don't we, AJ, against Fury? Lots of people think it should have happened years ago. There were lots of reasons why it didn't. I mean, do you really think it's going to be the biggest UK fight ever? Can you think of any that compare down the years?
Look, it's a huge fight. It's better late than never. It's a huge fight. There's been a lot of rivalry with them over the years, and people had their opinions who's the best, and we'll find out. Me, I've always had the opinion that Tyson will beat AJ all day long, so we'll see.
Well, that's what Stephen thinks. Anyway, he's back in Tyson. But tell me about where's it going to happen? Where's your money on right now? Where do you think the venue's going to be?
I think it's difficult because when they signed for the fight, they signed for different venues for some reason. But it's got to be sorted out. And the fact is, the fight will be televised by Netflix. That will determine it as well. And I think that, the promoters, the seller, the Saudi Arabians have put the money up. They are trying to get the fight on at Wembley, but they want it to be on at 2 o'clock in the morning to help with the sales in the American market. So there's a couple of little things to be done. But whatever happens, the fight will be on. I hope it's on in the UK because that's where we'd all like to see it.
Talk to me, Frank, about, we have to consider that these two are coming towards the end of their career. We have to think beyond that in terms of the future of the sport. Talk to me about the other heavyweight contenders. I'm personally really excited by the man you introduced me to, Moses Atauma.
Well, Moses is a young man. He's 21 years of age. He's fighting Filip Hrgovic in his next fight, which is his toughest fight. It's on the 29th of August at the O2 Arena in London. That is going to be a tough test for him, and it will show what he's all about. Me, I've got a lot of belief in him. I think he will be a champion, a world champion, even at such a young age. And then you've also got a really good rematch coming up between Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois, who beat him. And Daniel Dubois, as we all know, knocks out AJ. He had him on the floor 5 times before he stopped him at Wembley a couple of years ago. So, for the Brits, there's a lot of interest, a lot of good fights there, and they will be made. These fights are happening. We're making sure they happen.
While I've got you, Frank, I must ask you about your beloved Arsenal. How do you think their transfer business is shaping up over the summer? Were we disappointed to miss out on Morgan Rogers? I personally thought he was a bit expensive.
I thought he was expensive, but I still would have liked him to be in the team. I've got a lot of admiration for him. He's a good player, but as you say, expensive. But the problem, I don't know why they're saying Saliba's going to be out for a long time. Naturally, if you're finding a replacement for him, whoever that replacement's going to be, whatever club he's with, that money's now gone up in price. Why let everyone know that he's injured that badly? But we need to buy some players. We need a couple of players. I think we've got some fabulous players in Sacco, who represented England well, and for me, Declan Rice, who was my player of the season at Arsenal, fabulous player all day long. So I just think that we're in a, we need to strengthen our squad. Strengthen our squad, we'll be a better team.
Thanks very much indeed, Frank. Good to hear from you this morning.
It's a pleasure as always.
Cheers.
Thanks, Aidan.
Frank Rogers.
Honestly, it's nice. You know them all, don't you?
Well, people like to be in my company. What can I say?
Yeah. Honestly, Frank Warren, great, isn't he? Nice fella.
Yeah, he's really nice.
He is.
Yet to invite me to a bout, though.
No, it won't be long.
Watching.
It won't be long. But I've just told him as well. Now that he knows you're back in Fury, you'll have Anthony Joshua coming after you.
Don't want that.
Oh, no, it's about 6'4", Anthony Joshua.
No, more, about 6'6".
6'6".
Yeah.
It's big fat.
He'd have you for breakfast. He'd have you for breakfast.
He would. Oh, yeah, he would.
How's tall's Tyson?
Tyson's 6'9", I think.
Oof.
6'9".
Yep.
What do you think he was? 5'8"?
I don't know.
Bonkers, isn't it?
They're big.
Heavyweight boxing.
They're big.
I know, but
Mike Tyson was only 5'8".
Yeah.
Well, he's only 5'8", yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Anyway, Nigel Nelson is only 4'6". But he will be joining us along with Claire Pearsall for the papers in just a moment.
Morning, you two. But first, here's your forecast across Europe.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
The heat we've had this week across some parts of Europe, that is now starting to ease and clear away towards the south. Nonetheless, there's some high humidity around, still some high temperatures. And with that, there's the risk of some heavy thundery showers affecting parts of northern Spain, southern France through tomorrow. Mostly dry for Italy for a day or so, similar across parts of Greece, with today's showers clearing away towards the east, more affecting Turkey. But there is the risk of some further showers for both Italy and Croatia into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Olympian Sharon Davies. Sharon, thanks so much for joining us this morning. I think this is preposterous that we're banning Sports Day for kids, and our viewers are obviously also thinking this is completely bonkers. But is there a case to be made that perhaps we should be looking after young people when the heat is quite extreme in many people's cases, they'll say? What do you think, Sharon?
I think looking after our kids is making them resilient and giving them a sports day. I mean, sport in schools has been relegated year on year on year, and it's so depressing. You know, it's such an important part of young people's lives. Give them a hat, give them some sunscreen, make sure they're drinking plenty of water, stick them in the shade when they're not, actually having a little race. This is all about just kids getting used to life, and wrapping them in cotton wool is not the answer.
The People's Channel. Britain's newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
So you go along to the car showroom and only like 10%, at most maybe 15%, pay cash. The rest buy it on some form of financing. And you often buy, it's a bit like a mortgage, and it's like buying a mortgage from the estate agent, which we all know is a terribly bad idea. Yeah. But this is what people did. And the deal is, the scandal is, the guys in the showroom were acting as dealers and brokers, and they were in many cases inflating the interest rate that you paid so that they could get bigger commission. And they didn't declare that. So you basically ended up paying more for your car than you would otherwise have done if you'd gone into the open market and found yourself, a better deal.
How did that come to light?
Well, over many years. I mean, this has been going on since 2007.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Ruth Ellis was executed on the 13th of July 1955. She was convicted of murdering a partner, David Blakely. There's been a long campaign about what to do about all of that. She has now had a conditional pardon, which would mean she would have been sentenced to life rather than sentenced to death. So it's a significant move, but what do her family make of it? Well, her grandson, Stephen Beard, is here alongside solicitor Grace Horton. Good to see you both this morning. I mean, look, from a family perspective, Stephen, what does this mean?
It's huge. It was a monumental day yesterday. In essence, it's the removal of a negative blotch in our family history. We have effectively rewritten history because ultimately, for the last 70-odd years, the truth hasn't been known.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. It's 8:45. Let's take a look at some of the newspaper front pages on this Friday morning.
Parges.
They're
my favourite. The Guardian says Andy Burnham's number 10 North is Britain's biggest ever rebalancing of power.
The Independent reports on the government's decision to put the prisoner release scheme on hold as after public outcry that PC Andrew Harper's killers would be freed early.
For the Mail, they're looking at AI after experts found that things like ChatGPT can go rogue.
And finally, the Metro reports on a new poll that shows Andy Burnham is enjoying a boost in public popularity.
All right, Claire Pearsall and Nigel Nelson are here. Good morning, Nigel. Let's start with the Mail, should we? And this AI going rogue business.
Yes, I mean...
It is a concern, actually.
It is, and you're never quite sure whether we're in the same... Because AI is so new, whether we're in the same kind of situation as we had with the Millennium Bug, if you remember. The idea all our computers were going to pack up the moment we reach the year 2000, and nothing happened. Now, what's happened here is that what the Mail is reporting is that AI is beating security safeguards. And so the big question really is AI developing consciousness? Can it begin to think for itself? And if it does, what will it do? So there was one experiment done, for instance, where they simulated war games with AI, and in 95% of cases, AI went for a nuclear strike when humans would have actually done a load of other things along the way. And even the principal scientist at Google DeepMind says that we're creating these machines that can do extraordinary things, but scientists don't know how they actually work internally, and that's our problem.
Yeah, that is the issue. I mean, with this OpenAI thing, which was meant to be a secure sandbox, as they call it, it managed to get out and hack a company.
Yes, and a sandbox...
Of its own accord.
Yes, and a sandbox is meant to keep... You're not meant to be able to get anything out of a sandbox, so if it's found a way of doing that, that becomes scary.
It does. It takes on a life of its own, and then it's chosen a company to go to hack into. And you think the consequences of this was caught right at that particular moment. But with AI increasing every single day, it's learning, it's adapting. We are so far behind on this, and the government don't seem to be putting AI as a priority. With what they're dealing with.
Well, they have appointed an AI cabinet minister now, which I think is an advance.
It's beyond government. This is beyond, in a way.
But the government does need to have some kind of say in this, and you're looking at things like data centres. Yeah, absolutely. AI is not going away, whether you like it or not. It's one of those issues that I think we're going to need to pay more attention to.
Oh, yeah, I agree, but it's bigger than government, because it doesn't matter what our government does, it doesn't matter what any government does. Someone will keep working on this, and the minute something gets some sort of sentience, whatever, it's out there, and it doesn't matter what any government says. It'll do what it wants.
Yeah, it will do, but you need to be able to war game those kind of effects as well. I think government does need to have a part to play in this, because you need to look at the effects on your water industry, on your utilities, on railways, every part of life. The government needs to understand how this could affect it.
Claire, let's stay with you, shall we? Look at the Times, and tariffs are back.
This is Donald Trump getting round the fact that the Supreme Court deemed his previous attempt at tariffs to not be legal. He is replacing them with another 10% levy on supply chains that look like they've had sort of parts that are supplied by slave labour. So forced labour. So if there is a particular thing you're looking to import into the US that has got any part of it potentially made in places like China, for example, if you're talking solar panels, then there's going to be an extra levy put upon this. It's quite a clever way round for Donald Trump to have the last tariffs deemed inadmissible, to then find a way around it and to levy that. But ultimately it's going to be the consumers in the US who are going to pick up the tab. So,
and our business that's damaged. Our exports that are damaged.
Absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
But I mean, it will get challenged. I don't think a challenge would be particularly successful. But as we know with Donald Trump, something will come along to change his mind somewhere.
Well, he got the wrong law to start with, which was a mistake. So the Supreme Court then struck it down, and it's more difficult now to strike this one down. He just found a way around the law.
Yeah.
But there is the opportunity for him to change his mind, and as we see, he does that quite frequently.
Well, yes. Can I throw this at you, Nigel, in the Mail this morning? Being a man, Though you're not a young man, I have to say, but half of young
Thank
people...
you.
hate to say it. Oh, it's not just men, it's young people generally. Oh, well, there you go. But fewer than half of 16 to 24-year-olds feel satisfied.
Yeah, this is a survey that's been done by the think tank, the Institute for Public Policy Research. And young people, broadly what they found out is young people tended to be, on the whole, happy. And now they're not. 16 to 24-year-olds, an awful lot of them are really fed up, and they talk about the fact that they are isolating, they feel life has become more pressured, and that growing up nowadays is actually a real struggle.
Wasn't it always?
We've been debating this between us. I mean, one of the things is youth unemployment. Obviously, not being able to get a job is something that really is really depressing for young people. I can't remember when I started out ever having a problem getting a job, and even going back to student days, if I wanted a part-time job to earn extra money, that was quite easy. Claire's son is 17, sitting at home, applying for apprenticeships all the time, not even getting a reply. That's a disgraceful behaviour on the part of employers, but incredibly dispiriting for him.
And it's the same for employment. He was looking to get, weekend job, evening job. But because he's under 18, he couldn't even go to the supermarkets at Christmas and do the shelf stacking because they were late night shifts and they wouldn't take him because he was under 18.
Is this bureaucracy gone mad?
Absolutely. I mean, he's 17. It's not as if I'm sending a sort of 12-year-old out there. So that was really difficult. No one else is taking on. We live in a quite sort of rural location and places like pubs just aren't taking anybody on at the moment. Cafes and restaurants, the same kind of thing. Those businesses have been hit really hard. So it's understandable that young people are saying, well, everybody tells you to get a job, but you can't do it. And because you don't have one, they're accusing you of being lazy and not wanting to try.
And it's that seasonal work that generally starts people off in the working world.
That is where most people start off, in sort of hospitality,
Christmas
in retail,
job,
and those are the jobs that just aren't...
Yeah, I first started picking strawberries. Was my first job as a teenager, and I couldn't look at a strawberry in the face for the next 10 years.
Is this the government's fault?
No, I don't think it is.
In terms of places not hiring, you can't... national insurance...
Well, I mean, there is an argument, in fact, for lowering employer national insurance for young people. I can see that might be a way forward.
One thing that pubs were saying to us yesterday. The business rates are being cut. They said, all well and good, that's brilliant, but we need help with the cost of employment. That's the biggest issue.
Yes, I think that's across the board. But if you were to actually make it cheaper to employ a young person, it might encourage businesses to do it.
Fair point. Fair point. I mean, honestly, with all of this, I know we tend to get a bit critical of young people in the way. It wasn't easy in our day and all the rest of it. I wouldn't want to be a young person now.
No, I mean, just having that experience of a 17-year-old at home, the difficulties in their lives much outweigh ours.
All right, you too. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you.
Let's get a check now on the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. We've made it to Friday, and this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. For many, it is going to be a dry end to what has been a very dry week. There is some rain around, however. A bit of light drizzly rain across parts of Scotland, perhaps Northern Ireland at the moment. A lot of this, though, is going to break up through the morning and into the afternoon. Meanwhile, across England and Wales, well, it's a dry picture here with lots of sunshine. And with that sunshine, we're seeing temperatures rising mid to high 20s quite widely. Some places towards the southeast could get to around 30 Celsius, so feeling pretty hot here. Further north, a fresher feel for sure with a bit more cloud, and there will be a little bit of rain around. But into the evening, we're going to see some more persistent rain arriving in the far northwest of Scotland. Not especially heavy, but a damp end to the day here for sure. Further south and east across parts of Scotland, clinging on to that dry weather for now, but that rain will push through later on, and it's a similar story across Northern Ireland. Some glimmers of sunshine for the time being. Across England and Wales, a fine end to the day here, and worth bearing in mind, those temperatures are going to hold up, so it is still going to be pretty warm storm as we go through this evening and the start of the night. That weather system in the far northwest, which is bringing rain later on to parts of Scotland, does push its way south and eastwards overnight, bringing a bit of rain to far northern western parts of England and Wales, but the more persistent rain will be affecting northwestern Scotland. It is going to be a warm night for many of us, temperatures generally holding up in the mid-teens, some places holding up in high teens, so a bit uncomfortable for sleeping for some. A pretty unsettled picture across much of Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland through tomorrow. There will be outbreaks of rain, blustery winds, and that will then push into northern and western parts of England and Wales. Further south and southeast, it's going to stay dry. There'll be some sunshine again and still hot in the southeast. Here, temperatures could once more be in the low 30s Celsius. See you again soon. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A21 is closed after the A25. The M6 northbound between junctions 4A and 5 in Coventry W has a lane closure causing slow traffic. The M62 westbound between junctions 20 and 19 in Middleton also has a lane closure. The M180 westbound at junction 1 in Hatfield has a lane closure with slow traffic. In Scotland, the A83 in both directions at Loughnell Street, Lochgilphead, is restricted due to emergency roadworks with possible delays. And on the trains, cross-country services have no trains between Exeter, St David's and Paignton. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
What would you do with £60,000 cash? What would you do with a real gold bar? Well, both have to be won in our Golden Summer celebration. First, there's £60,000 in tax-free cash to bolster your bank account this year. Plus, we'll also give you a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Number 10 heads north.
The new Prime Minister Andy Burnham will hold his first meeting at his new northern base in Manchester today. Cabinet Office Minister Sally Jamieson defended the move earlier on the programme.
What it is there to do is devolve power from Whitehall and from London and get it out there, not just to the north actually.
Meanwhile, there are reports that the Prime Minister is ready to scale up North Sea oil and gas drilling within weeks as he tries to distance himself between the ghosts of Labour's past.
Oh, the self-appointed King of the North opening his castle in Manchester today. They say that's taking power away from Whitehall, away from Westminster, putting it into the north. But will it work? or is it a gimmick?
Elsewhere today, Burnham tries to quash his first crisis as Prime Minister by pausing the controversial early prison release scheme. Could the long-term solution to overcrowding lie in building temporary jails?
President Trump unleashes another round of tariffs on key trading partners, including the UK.
Is influencer culture destroying young people's work ethic? Well, we're talking to one reality star who also works full-time as a farmer after this clip went viral.
Alicia, you work on the National Rail. Why are you sitting in after sun?
Nothing wrong working on the National Rail, all right?
It's another sunny, very warm or hot day across southern parts today, a bit cloudier and damper further north, with rain turning more persistent later. I'll have more about all of this coming up.
Just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
I didn't quite get it from that clip. That woman on whatever show that was.
Love Island.
Oh, that was Love Island, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And she was having a go at someone because they've got a job.
I haven't watched it, but apparently she's, taking the mick out of someone for having a job at National Rail.
Instead of what?
Being an influencer.
All right.
I assume you get paid a lot more as an influencer.
Depends what you're influencing.
Yeah.
What's wrong with actually having a proper job?
Well, nothing, but she seems to think there is.
Oh, right.
Anyway, we're going to put it to a man who is a very hard-working farmer and see what he thinks of that.
I mean...
I bet it didn't go down very well.
Shouldn't seem like the brightest button in the box, did she? No. Anyway, look, Prime Minister Andy Burnham is hosting his first meeting at Number 10 North today. That's in Manchester, as he shifts power away from Westminster.
Yes, up to 300 civil servants will work regularly from the site, alongside ministers including Lucy Powell and Louise Haigh, who is overseeing the operation.
Elsewhere, the Prime Minister has paused the early prisoner release scheme. At least sort of paused. The Tories are saying, I don't know what pause means, because you've got to legislate for it somehow. It was meant to start in September. There's going to be an urgent review, but apparently it is sort of paused.
Yeah. Well, under the plans, up to 6,000 inmates across England and Wales, including killers, rapists and sex offenders, would have been released early and then monitored with electric tags.
Let's talk to our national reporter, Will Godley, who we've sent to Westminster today because there's nobody there, is there, Will? They've all gone up to Manchester, to whatever this new fabulous office is. I mean, what difference is this going to make to the way the country is being run?
Well, good morning to both of you. Yeah, there's tumbleweed here, very little going on. You can see behind me the hosepipe bands also make the grass look very, very bleak as well. But everybody, as you say, up in Manchester today for the launch of Number 10 North. It's an unassuming building. There's also some GCHQ work going on there in Heron House, and there are police officers outside to welcome in what is day one of Number 10 North. The Prime Minister will be there along with other cabinet ministers today, chairing a meeting with business leaders and trade union bodies. But many people questioning the Prime Minister, is this just a gimmick? What's the point of this Number 10 North? That's something you two put to the government around this morning, Sally Jameson, and she was saying this is all about getting decision-making and ideas out of Whitehall, out of this Westminster bubble, and having decisions devolved up into Manchester, and also getting more of those decisions into local authorities as well. But critics of this point out that Andy Burnham, want to point out to Andy Burnham, there's more to the rest of England than just Manchester. Of course, he feels very at home in Manchester. He was the mayor of Greater Manchester for a number of years. But yesterday he was questioned, what about the east of England? What about the southwest of England? Are these regions being forgotten in all of this? Well, Andy Burnham wanted to put that to bed yesterday, saying Number 10 North will work for all of England, making the decisions that every community will benefit from. But there's also, of course, the criticism of when it comes to the cost of all of this. Now, this won't be fully up and running for about 5 years. There'll be some 300 or so civil servants working there, and those who are going to move from London will be offered a relocation package to incentivise people to want to go. Cabinet ministers who will be working there already seemingly northern MPs, so not so much of a issue for them. They'll already have part of the week up in the north, so perhaps makes sense for them to spend more of their week working there. Now, the government say this won't cost any more to have number 10 in the north. It will come out of existing budgets, and Andy Burnham has given a statement this morning about what he hopes number 10 north will be, all sounding very American, describing it as a situation room. Of course, that's where the White House officials go, where the president goes to discuss the top things in government. Maybe that's what Andy Burnham's going to do in Manchester. He said this will be the situation room for making Britain better, the place we use to get power out of Westminster. And hand to the people at a local level so they turn things around. But will it work? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Day one for number 10 North starts today.
Certainly does, Will. And elsewhere, Andy Burnham has ordered a halt to the controversial prison's early release scheme. Tell us a bit more about that and what the alternative could be.
Yeah, certainly. So this was a scheme introduced under Sir Keir Starmer's government to try to free up prison places. They were urgently running out of beds in prisons for criminals, and so to deal with that they implemented this early release scheme. A number of them released last year. You remember those images of champagne corks being popped outside prisons, and there was going to be a second round of criminals released in September, up to 6,000 criminals due to be released then, including two of the men responsible for killing PC Andrew Harper. But when his family found out about that, well, understandably very upset, they did an interview with the Telegraph newspaper hitting out at this scheme, which in turn put a huge amount of pressure on the new Prime Minister to reverse this scheme, which he has, well, he's now put a pause on it. But as you were saying, the Conservatives in their interview this morning, not really sure what a pause looks like. They were wondering whether this pause would have to go through Parliament, something that would be incredibly difficult to do until it resumes sitting in early September. But Andy Burnham says his government is reviewing this and no one is going to be released until that review is done. But it does beg the question, well, are prisons now going to be overcrowded? What are we going to do in order to make sure there's enough space to keep people locked up?
All right, Will, thank you. Well, we need a bit of an inside track on this one, don't we? So we should talk to Sacha Lord, who, I mean, currently chair of the Nighttime Industries Association. He's been an advisor to Andy Burnham when he was Mayor of Greater Manchester. And it's fair to say, Sacha, isn't it? I mean, you're a bit of a pal with the Prime Minister, aren't you? So, I mean, you can maybe give us a bit of an inside track as to his thinking on something like number 10 North, because as much as it sounds like a good idea in some respects, how is it not a gimmick? How is it actually going to fundamentally change how we do politics?
Well, good morning to both of you. And, you know, you're right. He is a pal of mine, and I'm still smiling from Monday. You know, what an experience that was to clap the PM and into Downing Street. And I'm just a kid from Manchester that started on Putty Rave, so I never thought I'd end up there. But, you know, this isn't a gimmick, Stephen. You know, he's spoken a lot about when he went to university and all his mates were studying at the same university. They were from the South. And when he left, he found it very hard to get a job where they all went into banking and got jobs straight away in the South. And I think, you know, when you actually look at where the rules and the legislation and where the power sits at the moment, it is kind of bizarre that it sits within a half a mile square radius down in London. And one of his first commitments was to make a change to every single postcode across the whole of the UK. And I think that's what we're going to see. There's talk about this situation room, and there were reasons why he moved into that building, Heron House. Firstly, it's the only building in Greater Manchester that has a bomb-proof room in there. You're right, GCHQ are already in there. That's supposed to be a secret. It's the worst secret ever in Greater Manchester. So it's set up, and it's primed to hold office for the new Prime Minister.
Andy Burnham's been busy this week, hasn't he? 3 spending announcements in as many days in his first week in number 10. As chair of the Nighttime Industries Association, must have been particularly pleased to see the 20% business rate cut for pubs. Will that be enough, do you think, to save the Great British Pub, or does he need to go a lot further?
To answer it in simple terms, no, it's not enough, but it's certainly a great start. Some people have been saying, well, it's just 20 quid a week, isn't it? Actually, £1,100 a year does make a difference. And it's not just for pubs, it's for clubs and live music venues. But it isn't enough, and I'm expecting more to come down the line. The big thing that we all need as a sector is we're all asking for a reduction in VAT, bring us in line with the rest of Europe. That's something, and I'm not tribal when it comes to politics. I am a Labour Party supporter, but the last person that actually brought in fantastic help was Rishi Sunak when he was Chancellor. He reduced VAT coming out of COVID to 5% and then 12.5%. That saved many businesses. It saved many, many jobs. So I would like to see something like that. I would also like to see a reversal of the catastrophic national insurance increase that Rachel Reeves brought in. Since that was brought in, we've lost 124,000 jobs in my sector. And when you dig down into that, the vast majority of those jobs are for 18 to 24-year-olds who perhaps had a part-time job in a pub to get through college, the Saturday jobs. They've gone now. They're few and far between. So we need to get young people back into work. And I'm confident that is something that the new Prime Minister is going to focus on.
Look, we're really tight for time, but I've got to ask you, and my producer's going to go mad, but you're a Labour voter, you said. You're cheering on Andy getting into number 10. But you called what Rachel Reeves did catastrophic. I mean, have you held your head in your hands over the last 2 years thinking, what have I voted for?
I hold my hands up, Stephen. I was at the manifesto launch in July 24, and the Chancellor stood there and she said she was the Chancellor of Business and Growth. Couldn't be further from the truth. She was an absolute disaster for small, medium-sized businesses. I mean, really, really bad. Her business rates increase for a pub was on average about 76%. She left this week with a video of all the good things she did. It completely deluded. It was, she couldn't have been a worse Chancellor for business, in my opinion. I think we're in a set of safe hands now with John Healey. This week we've seen some great things. And I have to say, out of hospitality, stopping the digital ID, I think is fantastic. Stopping the early release for prisoners, fantastic. Slashing VAT on utility bills, great. Capping buses at £2. We've seen some really good commitments this week, and we need more and more of this because the country is not in a good shape at the moment, and we need hope. And I would say to everybody watching this, whatever party you support, let's give this man a chance. Let's give him a chance to turn the country around because we need it. We need to stop all this infighting and everything. Let's just get on with the job of putting us back on a safe track.
Sasha Lord, it's been really good to talk to you. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Sasha.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, talking of money, how do you fancy £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar? Here's how you could make it yours.
We're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. That's gold that you could keep, trade in, or gift to a loved one to secure their financial future. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash that you can spend on anything you like. And because it's tax-free, every single penny of it will be yours. So don't miss out. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck.
Oh, right. Sorry, it's me. Still to come. Is influencer culture, you know that awful influencer nonsense, is it destroying the work ethic for young people? We'll tell you why there are concerns next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 9:19. Now, a clip on Love Island has fuelled claims that influencers are responsible for the rise in work-shy Gen Zs. Take a listen.
Alicia, you work on the National Rail. Why are you sitting in after sun?
Nothing wrong working on the National Rail, right?
Alicia. What's going on, Alicia? I've no idea what any of that's about, but look, what it seems to indicate is that that lady whoever she is, seems to think that working at a proper job earning £30,000 a year
is embarrassing.
Is embarrassingly, because you should be an influencer earning a fortune.
Well, joining us now is someone who appeared on Big Brother previously, but also works as a farmer, so he can probably see both sides of this. Cameron Kinch, very good morning to you. What do you make of these comments implying that working at National Rail for 30k a year is embarrassing?
I mean, they're quite disgusting, actually. You know, you got to first take into account reality TV. It is all clipped up, it's all edited, so we didn't see the whole conversation. But it's interesting, in this conversation, she also accused Alicia of being bitter and jealous. Well, I think if you're having to resort to comments like this and attacking somebody on their job, it's quite classless and very distasteful, let's be real about it.
I mean, but what irritates me, Cameron, about all of this is this idea that actually having a proper job where you put your heart and soul into it, as farmers do, I mean, we're harder than the rest of us put together, that's something to look down on. Whereas if you can just do something on your phone and supposedly influence people, that's a good career move.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's a real weird cultural thing going on with Generation Z at the minute, where we are constantly bombarded on social media. Everyone's following influencers. I follow the odd influencer myself. And it's weird, because I would say, on one side of the coin, and there was Love Islanders in that villa who said, look, come on, that's a real job. Let's give her credit for it. But, and there is a real sense of drive in my generation. But on the other side of my generation, there's certainly a sense of, not quite laziness, just like everything will be handed to you, everything just comes instantly. And I think, you have TikTok, you just scroll and it comes instantly, instant entertainment. Everything's instant. Whereas that's not how the real world works. We know we've got to work, and we've got to put in the hard work, and then you get somewhere. So there is a certain sort of cultural thing going on like that.
Yeah, do you think there is some, we shouldn't say all, but some members of Gen Z who are afraid of real work? They couldn't do the job that you do. I mean, what time do you get up in the morning, Cameron? What time do you go to bed?
Oh, I got in the house at 11 last night. We're mid-harvest at the minute, so it is our peak busy time. And I was up at 6 sorting out, drying some grain. So it's,
there you go.
It's tough.
Do you think there would be people out there that would be afraid of the job that you do? They'd much rather just make easy money that they would see on Instagram.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I think, unfortunately, it's human nature to do what's easiest. But I fear with our generation, we don't see the long term, and we don't see the vision, and it has to be instant all the time. Whereas, I know you got to put in the hard work to get anything, but there is a slight problem with our generation. Everything is instant. You see everything, but this is the weird thing, because actually, again, I see the other side of it. From doing Big Brother and whatnot, I have quite a lot of influencer mates, and it is actually somewhat. There's actually quite a lot goes into it, editing videos and whatnot, and talking to brands. But obviously, as a consumer on social media, you don't see that. You just see the quick 5-second video.
Yeah,
but actually, and it's not enough influencers. I think influencers are getting better at it, but they're not showing the full picture of the actual hard work that goes into it.
Yeah, fair point. Cameron, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Britain's Newsroom coming up at 9:30. Charlie Peters and Miriam Cates are here to tell us all about it. Morning, you two.
Morning to you both. What a programme we've got coming up. Yeah. Iran is threatening Britain. Andy Burnham's moving number 10 to the north. We've also got plenty of reaction to these tariffs being brought in on Britain from Donald Trump as well.
And an interview with a Jewish student who's faced a lot of persecution at university. We'll have that live. That's all coming up after your weather forecast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. We've made it to Friday, and this is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. For many, it is going to be a dry end to what has been a very dry week. There is some rain around, however. A bit of light drizzly rain across parts of Scotland, perhaps Northern Ireland at the moment. A lot of this, though, is going to break up through the morning and into the afternoon. Meanwhile, across England and Wales, well, it's a dry picture here with lots of sunshine. And with that sunshine, we're seeing temperatures rising mid to high 20s quite widely. Some places towards the southeast could get to around 30 Celsius, so feeling pretty hot here. Further north, a fresher feel for sure with a bit more cloud, and there will be a little bit of rain around. But into the evening, we're going to see some more persistent rain arriving in the far northwest of Scotland. Not especially heavy, but a damp end to the day here for sure. Further south and east across parts of Scotland, clinging on to that dry weather for now, but that rain will push through later on, and it's a similar story across Northern Ireland. Some glimmers of sunshine for the time being. Across England and Wales, a fine end to the day here, and worth bearing in mind those temperatures are going to hold up, so it is still going to be pretty warm as we go through this evening and the start of the night. That weather system in the far northwest, which is bringing rain later on to parts of Scotland, does push its way south and eastwards overnight, bringing a bit of rain to far northern western parts of England and Wales, but the more persistent rain will be affecting northwestern Scotland. It is going to be a warm night for many of us, temperatures generally holding up in the mid-teens, some places holding up in high teens, so a bit uncomfortable for sleeping for some. A pretty unsettled picture across much of Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland through tomorrow. There will be outbreaks of rain, blustery winds, and that will then push into northern and western parts of England and Wales. Further south and southeast, it's going to stay dry. There'll be some sunshine again and still hot in the southeast. Here, temperatures could once more be in the low 30s Celsius. See you again soon. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound between junctions 5 and 4 in Southampton has a lane closure. The A21 is closed after the A25. The A2A2 anti-clockwise at the Dartford crossing is closed. The M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 25 and 24 in Pottersbar has an obstruction on the slip road. The M1 southbound between junctions 14 and 11A in Luton is closed tonight. Across Wales, the A40 westbound from Bancy Fell into St Clears West is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country services have no trains between Exeter, St David's and Paignton. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 PM, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 PM every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me. What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans? Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account. You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 PM, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.